There it is.
What's up, fellas?
Beast Areno.
Yeah.
Beast, meet Bobby, and Lex. Well, I mean, you've talked to Lex, but
Hello.
So,
Have we? I don't remember.
not out loud.
you've never heard
okay.
my sultry, nasally voice, so...
I mean, you say that, but now listen to Lex.
That belongs on an album.
Lex, Sonnet 58. Go.
Sonnet 58?
Oh, that's fair enough. Whatever. So that's Lex.
Or just make him laugh.
So, this is my second session 0 of today.
Hey.
Okay, I heard a woman.
That's my wife.
One of you needs to lock your door and kick them out, because distractions are not welcome.
Mine's not even
Where's
home.
Maggie? Oh, okay, she's not paying attention.
The
Oh god,
only
now she's
female
looking.
here
Now she's
is
looking
my
at me.
dog.
Oh god. He heard the cat last night, so he already kind of knows. But the cat talks so much during our games because she doesn't know who I'm talking to, so she thinks I'm talking to her and ignoring her. So I've thought about making like a table to roll on when that happens. That's like how often it happens, just for the record.
I think that's viable, like, and have half of it be really good for us and half of it be really bad for us.
It would be like general, yeah, like, oh, you random encounter. Let's roll on the random encounter table, which I will be using. My random encounter table, unless we vote against that in today's questions.
Goddess of Warriors.
Yes, Veliere.
Veliere, thank you.
Make sure I'm pronouncing that right. That thing I made up, but I have an actual.
Well, I assume you just pronounced it right because it's your word.
Yeah, but I wrote down the actual pronunciation, like phonetically.
Ooh,
So
nice.
Let me double check that.
All right.
Arch has got his shit together, man.
Oh,
Dude, you
but I
have
do
no
not
idea.
have a campaign or a story, so
But you got a world,
don't worry about that.
and that's like half.
I'm sorry, it's Valrie.
Oh, Valrie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Bobby's playing a cleric, guys, in case if it hasn't been said.
My wife actually asked, "Is Jason Bond his real name?"
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, really? I'm like,
Do you know how
come
hard
on.
it is to get like a professional looking email address? It's not.
Right?
It's impossible. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I bet that's
His last name is Bond, and you're a James Bond nut. Is that just weird? I'm like, baby, it's just his name.
And our like, I mean, most emails for like companies are your first initial and your last name.
Right?
And so mine is J Bond. My middle initial is D for danger. Now for the campaign, it sounds like we're pretty well agreed. My homebrew world, away from the Forgotten Realms, away from Toril.
I wasn't aware that was up for debate.
It was supposed to be, and then you guys just kept asking me questions all week. Originally, we were going to have all the discussions about everything. Like, everything was going to be on the table today. But I mentioned that I would like to do this, but I was not against doing the...
But you said this is like basically Forgotten Realms, but with different names, places, dates.
It's the same, just, like, high fantasy.
Right, it's just your take on the same idea.
Yeah, there's some...
Yeah.
And steampunk
honestly,
elements that we're going to need to talk about, but that's...
I'd rather not know a whole lot about a lot.
Well, you'll need to know just enough to, like, get by.
That's it.
And everything else you'll discover in the world.
Well, and when you and I spoke before, I'm coming from a different place, right? So where I'm landing, I'm kind of a foreigner anyway.
Well, you'll have needed to have been here for a little while, at least.
Well, acclimate a bit.
Yeah. And that's fine. Having the map open during this discussion might also help people. I don't know. Okay. So, campaign check. Done. Great.
Does everybody else want to say what they're playing?
I don't know that everyone else knows.
What? Oh, maybe not everybody else has been.
I think you're the only one who's been like, "This is what I'm doing." I think Adam, you were like, "I might be a halfling swashbuckler," but I don't know that you settled on that. And then Bobby's like, "I'm this." Like the next day, I'm like, "Okay."
I'm already ready to go through level 3.
Yeah.
So that's funny. So I am completely open to whatever we decide we need. I have 3 characters in mind: a wizard,
Oh, great.
slash sorcerer slash warlock. I'm not sure what I would do, but magic
One
user.
of those things is not like the other. Just for the
Yeah,
record.
have you considered a life devoted to Valryrie?
No.
Oh.
F that noise.
So, Adam, for a caster, if you're looking for like bang for your buck, wizard is where it's at.
Yeah.
You will get more spells, more slots,
I agree with that.
more. I can throw this out there with a wizard.
If you want the most options over the course of forever, wizard is the classic. Lex plays a sorcerer in.
Yeah, warlock and sorcerer both have some really cool angles if you really want to have some fun with roleplay, or they still have great spells. In fact, warlock has probably the best cantrip in the damn game. Or is it sorcerer?
Because he only has 2 slots until like 10th level.
Yeah. You just sit there and jab.
That's why I said one of these things is not like the other. The warlock is not really a full caster. It is, but it's not. Because it has 2 slots until like level 9, then it gets its 3rd, then it finally gets a 4th. Now those spell slots raise in level as you go up.
Yeah.
And so anything you cast is the level of your spell slot, which is nice.
Warlock's like the opposite side of the coin from wizard, because you're going to get a lot more roleplay diversity, I think, because the character from the start is a
awesome
wacky
class.
idea. Yeah,
but if you want to be able to throw out more than 2 spells per battle, or I should say more than 2 spells per short rest, it is not the right class.
Right.
On the other hand,
if
you
augmented
really
by
like
good melee
dragons
skills.
and you want to actually sprout wings around level 14, Dragonborn Sorcerer is pretty fucking cool.
Don't do that to me. There's 2 basic types of sorcerer from the PHB player handbook, which hopefully you have a copy of.
I'll be picking one up I have the digital. I'm going to be buying a physical copy this week because digital sucks.
Oh, so only for you if you want to. I don't require it in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, that's everything you'll ever need, really. There are more versions of the sorcerer from other books, and I'm more than happy to let you play any of them. As long as it's a published book, I'm fine with it. I do prefer the rule books over campaign books, which is why things like the Birdmen are out and all that. But
okay. So my
just didn't want me talking like a crow. That's all.
No, not the Kenku. Kenku were right out. I can't deal with that shit. But the Arachnaroka or whatever they're called.
Oh yeah.
Which are just broken. At least the Kenku can't fly. Anyway, sorry, what?
So my class choices that I have in my head are some form of magic user, a ranger, and the halfling swashbuckler. So the ranger would be probably an elf of some variety, but yeah.
Ranger got a very nice boost in the most recent book.
So really, it's whatever we decide, how we want our group to be. Every one of those characters. So, guys, I don't know if you know, I'm a LARPer. I know Arch does. Yeah. So every one of those characters is a character that I've played in my LARP for over a decade. So I've got a very specific persona for each one of them. Yeah. So it depends on how we want to form our party. I mean, if we're going to be all high and mighty, super royal good guys, then I'll probably play the ranger. If we're going to be, maybe we're going to be a thorn in Arch's side and be the bad guys, then I will definitely play the wizard.
I'm not running an evil campaign, just for the record.
So the wizard's out.
So here's my, and we'll get to this. This is actually one of the, I think this list is 20 points on it that we're going to get to today. But the one question I want to ask is, if you're playing a character that you have established and go to, are you going to be upset if something bad happens? I know we kind of talked about this, but okay. Because I don't want anyone to die.
Multiverse.
But, okay, multiverse theory. Done. All right. I don't really know what we were talking about right there, but I'm just going to move to my next point if we're good to go. Or unless you still had questions.
Actually, Lex.
Okay.
Yo.
What do you want to play?
I was looking at either a samurai, which is the fighter, or a hexblade, a monk, or Wizard Blade Singer.
I would. Oof.
Blade, that's it.
God, I would like.
Wow.
I would like the Blade Singer a lot in this campaign. I would like the Warlock a lot in this campaign. I think. I know you've been talking about playing a Hexblade forever. It would be nice to just get that out of your system so you can stop. Then finally you can just be like Solus. It was amazing, and then I died because arcaded me. No. Yeah, I mean, they're all cool mechanically. I think the Samurai is just a gross class.
Samurai would be a knockout.
It's a nifty thing. I just don't like the idea of the Samurai, and I don't know why. It just bothers me.
Oh, see, that's
but
just one more reason you might have to do it, Lex.
I do have, over here on the on the right, we have Yunol, which is basically Japan. So why not, right?
So, have you ever played the beat stick before, Lex? It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Have I ever played the beat stick before?
Not in this.
I've played the Swashbuckler before.
You're basically the tank in that game, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, they have a paladin.
Depending on the party.
They have a paladin now.
I'm just saying,
and you
it's
played
a
the
lot
paladin,
of fun.
and you played the paladin in your game.
By the time you hit like 5th level, you just like start knocking shit out, and people stand back and.
Well, also, the samurai has like 1,000 attacks, which is just unnecessary.
Says you're the one throwing monsters at us.
No, if that's what you want to be, it's
No, I'm more inclined to go a fighter if I feel that the group needs a tank at the front, which I'm not sure it does.
I have found that the group never really needs anything. Not like you guys, but like the group. If you all three played wizards, then maybe there would be something like
that would be awesome.
All
wizards who thought we were badasses.
I would prefer to play either the Hexblade or the Blade Singer. But that's because I'm, of course, I am very much inclined towards magic users.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys were to do Swashbuckler and the Hexblade, or Ranger and Hexblade, it's two pretty solid melee. You're not the tankiest of tanks, but it's two pretty solid melee classes.
Well, I'm going War Cleric, so I'll be able to hold my own. I just won't be able to lead the charge.
You're like a light fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, 18 AC still, so.
With the shield, yeah.
So yeah, you have what could be. I mean, it works for Ack Inc., right?
Right.
Oh, they have a fighter. They had a fighter.
Double X to the back.
I love when it gets used for other things. Double X to the gem. There are certain things I quote a lot, and that's one of them in my games, just because it cracks me up. Yeah, so I forgot. War Cleric, heavy armor, pretty decent attacks, strength character. So
Si, bueno.
The rest you can do whatever.
And I even took a couple of healing spells.
Is the War Cleric like the weapon melee domain, or?
Yeah, I could do either one. So I've got. I mean, I'm packing Morningstar and a mace. And I also have, healing stuff and distance spells, and so I can fulfill multiple roles and still heal.
They're everything a life cleric is. They just don't get the automatic bonuses to healing.
Yeah. Right now, my healing hands deals 1 hit point.
Oh.
So I'll Swashbuckler's a rogue subtype, right? So they get
all the rogue stuff, plus all the ridiculous shit Swashbucklers get to make you amazing. You're basically a hit and run machine. So Lex plays a Swashbuckler in the campaign that's getting ready to end, and he just kind of MC'd into Ranger a little bit. But basically, if you run with 2 weapons, you can do you can run up to 2 guys, attack both of them. You don't even have to hit; you just attack both of them, and then you can run away without an attack of opportunity. Attack of opportunity against you.
Yeah, no, they're freaking sweet. I was reading about them. So
they're the combat rogue.
There's also
Do they get sneak attack?
Yeah, they're a rogue.
Oh yeah.
And they get sneak
with
attack.
A halfling
They're a sneak attack if you get someone on their own too. So they have all the rogue things that spark sneak attack, plus another situation.
Plus,
So-
halflings get stealth bonuses, and they're lucky.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, halfling
So-
is better than it should be.
Isn't there a way to do it with a sword and board, right? You can do dual wield swashbuckler or sword and board swashbuckler.
Well, the rogue itself doesn't get proficiency in
So-
with shields.
I don't think you'd have it because I don't think what's their faces get it. I don't remember what that means for shields. If you're not proficient in them, I guess you just don't get the bonuses, or
See, I thought I read
forget
that
how that
shields
works.
fell under light armor, or like
No.
bucklers fell under something.
no, not in
Fall
this
on the
edition
shields themselves.
that I know of. All right.
Okay, so here's what happens if you don't have proficiency. You have disadvantage on an ability check, saving throw, or attack roll that involves strength or dexterity, and you cannot cast spells. Because apparently it lumps shields in the same class as armor.
It does, but you don't get shield proficiency without shield proficiency.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't find it in there.
So you don't want to carry a shield unless you're proficient.
All right. So
Then I have to take one level
Although-
of fighter.
No, you don't have. Well, what you could also do.
Depending on what Arch says, I could teach you, and it might take us a few sessions and in between sessions, but over time he might give you proficiency if we spent time learning.
maybe.
So
you-
the only reason I ask is this character's history. His father gave him this shield, and so he has had it since forever, and never picked up two weapons. So
it's
all
what you.
history.
Sorry. What you might also want to consider is perhaps starting out as a ranger and multi-classing into.
That's what I was going to
Excellent.
suggest.
Because
Or
the
not
ranger
multi-classing, or just sticking with ranger. Maybe the ranger works out better, but
because he does get shields.
oh god,
Shoot
all
him.
the no, don't push the power. If I leave, it's because all the books fell on the power button for the for the power strip. Holy shit, that was so close. All right, I forget what book I was trying to find, but whatever. Yeah. So I don't have a great answer for you there.
We'll figure it out.
Options.
Swashbuckler definitely works, I think, a little bit better if you can dual wield. It opens up a few more things, but really just that extra. You can hit another person and not get opportunity attacks.
Yeah,
That's really the
which
main
I
thing.
think actually that's something that halflings get.
Is
It might be, actually.
Yeah,
Is Swashbuckler a dexterity base or strength
Yes.
base?
dex based.
Yes.
So it's dex. Yeah. See, now you're into not just your attacks on dex, but your initiative bonuses, and
Yeah,
everything
we're
you're
going to
gonna
talk
do.
about that, but yes.
Uh-oh.
Maybe. I have a question, but it can wait.
Ah.
I am more than willing to work out something. The shield that adds +1 instead of +2, and me allowing you to have proficiency with it. Your father's buckler, that kind of thing. I could see happening
Cool.
if you decided that you wanted to go that route.
Yeah, we can work something out.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's
'Cause you-
not as much AC, but at least you have it.
Yeah.
Because a swashbuckler should have a buckler.
Well, I mean, what else is he going to swash?
Well, so
Just
isn't
saying.
maybe I'm confused. Maybe there's actually a buckler that leaves your offhand free.
Not in 5th edition.
Ooh.
Not in 5th edition.
Maybe a magic item, like like an actual magic item, not like a.
There is a magic sword that you don't have to hold on to.
There is that.
Or, I'm sorry, magic shield.
Also that. There's both.
Yeah.
Um,
So 1st edition bucklers left your offhand free.
yes, yes, they did. No, 5th edition just has the shield, which is an automatic +2.
Okay.
Welcome to 5th edition.
But a high
So
enough
new.
dex can give you that in leather armor.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. Okay. Next point since we haven't gotten off campaign yet, apparently. Uh, stat style. I have three offers to make. One of which probably doesn't make any sense anymore. The first offer is, and this is the one that probably doesn't make sense anymore because it sounds like you guys know what you want to play, or at least mostly, would be we go in order and you roll each stat in order. Doesn't sound like that's something we're going to do in this group.
Can be a lot of fun to roll in order. It can just really change the way you were going to play the character.
You have to come in without knowing that you're going to play. Like you're going to play John the farm boy, growing up into, he trained in strength and whatnot, and therefore is a fighter and not a wizard. So you have to be ready for that. So I think that's probably out. I think we all kind of have agreed so far and are leaning towards the standard stats, right? Where you take the 8, the 10, the 11, 12, 13, and 15, and just apply them wherever you want. That way everyone has the same rolls, or the same numbers, and they just put them wherever they want and then add their race in after that. It sounds like that's kind of where we fell on that over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it's been. The third option would be we roll, but it may be a little bit stricter on how we do it. Unless
I'm
someone
totally
has
open.
another idea.
I personally don't care.
Yeah, I have. Honestly, Ark, whatever you want to do, man.
Okay. I haven't gone too far, looked into the point buy system too much. If someone was like, I'd really like to do that so that way I can get something up to really high, knowing that it's going to drop other stats from middle.
Point buy is my least favorite of the three
Mine as well.
book options.
Mine as well.
Yeah.
I like rolling because I like the randomness of not knowing what the fuck I'm going to end up with.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
the
really
same
don't
way.
care.
I'm open to whatever. I like rolling because I like to roll dice.
That's the other thing. I don't want to take that away from you guys because I know that is fun.
Plus, I have some killer old Monopoly dice from a game in the 70s that I don't know what they made this shit from. It's probably radioactive, but they roll really well.
If you guys want to roll, we will roll your characters tonight. Is the
I'm down.
only caveat of that. If you want to stick to your standard stats. The other thing is, what I will probably allow is if you roll and it's not as good as the standard stats, you may take the standard stats. That might be my allowance. The other thing I was thinking was...
That's not more strict.
If you... here's where I'm not going to let you roll 4d6. Necessarily.
Do we still get a reroll, or do we just take the 3 we get?
So you would either... It would just be the 3, and maybe one reroll at the end, or you take the standard stats. Or it'd be the 4d6, no reroll, or you take the standard stats.
Set stats plus 3 points.
Done. Let's do it.
Boom.
What are we dunning?
Set
stats plus 3.
But you can only add 1 per... So, you can't add more than 1 to any one stat.
Yes.
Okay. Done.
And this is the unmodified sets.
I would let you add 2 to one stat if you took away 1 from another stat.
Done. Wait, can that 1 I take away from another stat be the third point that I don't use?
No, instead of the third point.
So it'd be like a -2?
No. So you can either spend 3 points in 3 different stats.
Okay.
Does someone have a big dog?
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's my dog drinking
I was
water.
like... Okay, so what's weird is if you look at Adam's picture, just because it's cut off, it kind of looks like he's chugging something, right? Off screen.
Right?
And I was like, what are you doing?
It's not even my big dog. That's the baby.
If you want to take your 15 up to a 17, you can, but it means you're going to have to take one of your other stats down by 1. And you don't get to spend the third point.
And we don't get the third point, so it is like a 2 penalty.
Oh, yeah, yes. I'm sorry, it is. It is.
Okay.
Or should it be you still get the 3 points, but if you want to put 2...
I'm good with 3 points. I'm good with 3 points into 3 separate deals. That's great.
And I had actually, that's legitimately
exactly the kind of bump I want.
If you look at my notes, that's actually legitimately what I have written down. Was I was thinking about giving you D4 extra points, but we were going to roll the D4 as a group. So that works out for me.
Nice. I like it.
So that allows you to be like, you're still negative somewhere, um, but you can bring that 13 up to a 14 if you want. You can bring that 15 up to a 16. And I don't know what you would do with the other point.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
I know
pretty
exactly
set where
what
those
that-
are going to go, I guess.
Right? Yeah, no, I know exactly where mine are going.
So what are those stats again?
8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yep.
You skip the 9 and you skip the 11.
Okay. +3.
So those 3 points, we can only spend one on each stat, right?
Yeah, which is why I'm saying I think that just kind of, that's obviously going to go to the 15, the 13, and I don't know where the other point goes, but
Might depend on what your racial bonus gives.
but then the racial bonus might clear out your because you want even number. Adam, if you haven't got enough into 5th edition, you want even numbers. That's where you get your bonuses from, obviously.
Yep.
Anywho, do we think this is correct? I did actually sort of forget this whole time that racial bonuses were a thing, which is how you augment the set stats to not be quite as. Okay, how about this? I'm sorry, I'm going to change it one last time, but this is final. This is final. I swear to God, you have to -1. So it's plus any 3, -1. They have to be 4 different
Done.
stats. Sorry, that's it. That's what I'm ruling, and I'm done.
Who needs charisma anyway?
Well, Fen.
Did you say Fen?
Yeah, that's
that
my
your character's
halfling's name. Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna write that down.
Do you know PAX and Penny Arcade and all that?
I used to read Penny Arcade
Yeah.
ages ago.
Well, you know they run a live D&D game at PAX. Maybe you do.
Yes.
Acquisitions Incorporated. Jerry, who is Tycho, or Omen Drawn from Penny Arcade, runs a C-Team game. It's, these guys who own another branch of it, and he's the DM.
They own a franchise?
There's a character named Fen, and she has a special job within Acquisitions Inc., which is to determine how things are supposed to be killed. Plus,
Are you guys caught up on C-Team, by the way?
I am. No one else that I know watches
Okay. Hilarity.
Unless it's been good. It has been very good.
It really, I think it's become my favorite.
It's been my favorite for a while.
Yeah.
All
right. I like these changes.
Okay. So 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. You can increase any 3 of those stats by 1, and any one of the stats goes down by 1. Do we think that's fair? I'm sorry.
I like
the one
it.
that we go down cannot be used
In the same as the +1.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Just having a +1 bumped some stuff for me that I really wanted bumped.
And I think I'm okay with that. What's your highest
And
stat,
then-
Bobby?
16.
In wisdom?
Wisdom and Constitution, because
Okay.
Con is one of my
no,
racial
yeah,
bonuses.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with 2 16s because of racial bonuses and all that. That's okay to me.
And that gives me an extra spell
Especially on
slot.
the cleric. Yeah.
Bam.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Does anyone have any problems with this version?
Nah, fam, this is great.
One of those. I started hearing that in a D&D game. I didn't know the fam thing until very recently.
Oh,
I have
picked it up
teenage
from
kids, so
I heard someone say something was lit the other day, and I was so confused.
no, the one that got me is it's fire. I'm sorry, it's what?
Wow.
I'll probably go Hexblades.
Yay! And you're still up in the air on what race you're thinking?
Cute.
Well, it'll probably be a variant human then, right?
I want you to be an orc. Well, a
Dragon.
half orc that I call an orc, whatever.
This is going to be fun, guys.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We have a lot of shit to still go through, just for the record. I'm giving a breather real fast. It's like spot
Okay,
on.
Sasha, go lay down. That's all 3 of them. Okay, yeah, go lay down.
Sasha is the name of the quasi-retarded vampire girl that I play as an NPC in Strahd's campaign.
Nice.
She's Lex's best friend.
Sasha's my 9-year-old. She's my baby.
Sasha thinks that she taught Lex's character Aaron how to be a ranger. And that's why she multiclassed.
Nice.
Yeah.
She
And,
thinks she taught you how to be a ranger?
Yeah, no, so Aaron taught Sasha how to trance like an elf, even though she can't do it, just to get her to stop talking. And then when Aaron multiclassed into oh, hello you. When Aaron multiclassed into Ranger, because Sasha uses a bow and kind of has a hunter-esque-ness to her, she's like, oh yeah, she's taking after me. All right.
Oh, that's awesome. I knew I liked you guys. I just didn't know how much for sure.
Moving on.
So, what else?
Are we done with stats? Stats?
I think we're done with
stats.
For the record,
The stats are done.
are number 2 on my list. 1, 2,
Hey.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
We're working
8,
our
9,
way up.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 things are written on this list.
Good
That's what I
God.
was talking about.
Four
I
of
was
them are
talking-
for later. But what, Lex?
I was talking about the tidbit. The race, cat race.
I don't know
They
what that is.
can issue plea for help. Summon 5d10 of their fellows from Pandemonium. That's crazy. Also a shifter. Oh, and if you ever kill 20 or more Tibbets in one place, there's a 25% chance that the Cat Lord will show up to seek vengeance. Can I play that?
No. You can't play anything. You have to sit there and listen.
We just have to watch for them and make sure we kill enough.
It's like the
Just
chickens in
19,
Zelda.
then stop.
Don't kill the last one.
Until you get to the final boss and you're like, Cat Lord, save us.
We have,
Okay.
we have to put it in a bag of holding and take it with us.
Oh, a bag of kittens.
I would just use Moonbeam and they would fucking chase it everywhere. Move it.
Sacred flame.
Alright. Number 3. Percentage of adventure. So, I'm going to drop you in a world that has politics, socio-economic issues, geopolitical conundrums, wilderness, and ancient dungeons. This is less of a set thing, because obviously I'm going to try to balance the game in such a way as to make it fun. It's not going to be all combat. It's not going to be all sitting around discussing trade disputes. You know what I mean? The next point is percentage of combat. So those are kind of two. So I just kind of want to get a feel for what you're looking. This is me asking you guys, especially those of you who have watched enough Matt Colville videos. So if you've only watched the one that I've linked to you, then that's just our conversation about character death, and we'll get to that. But Bobby, I know you've watched some of his other ones. So we're talking about like, what do you guys want from the game? Because I have a
watched this video
world,
today.
not a story. If that makes sense. Like, I know events that are going to happen, but I'm not ushering you through a module. At least I'm not planning to.
I want a game where I can sit down, roll dice, and be involved in a story.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and you have a direction you want to take us.
Generally,
Right.
Like, I know how you're going to start.
Yeah, and the rest of it
start
is
with 3 like big choices.
right.
I
I
don't
want
know the answer to.
a little diversity. I'm used to playing the beat stick, so I'm looking for a little extra role play, but I still want to be able to, bring down some pain when it needs to happen. So,
Yeah.
but it's just gonna change and depend on choices we make and where the story takes us. I don't think I've ever had a problem with the way you DM a game. I think there's always been plenty of variety.
Okay. That's like I presented this to my other group. I was like, think of it like a slider bar, not like an easy hard slider bar, right? But just we want to be more out and adventuring then we want to be trying to deal with like geopolitics.
I would much rather be Lord of the Rings than Game of Thrones.
Exactly what they said.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was my figure.
I mean, I like, a little politics, a little backstory kind of fun. That's cool because it gives you depth to the story, gives you depth to the world. But
I'm not saying you're not going to be involved in those things as
right.
well.
But I would personally rather that wasn't the primary thing. I would rather be out trying to find the secret thing for the doohickey that does the stuff for the guy who's going to pay us.
And more important than your actual answer is just the discussion that we're going to have about it. And that's really what this is. These are talking points. These are not actual answerable questions until I get to the actual answerable questions.
So yeah, I would echo that. I completely agree. So
Lex, do you have anything to add to that? If please, everyone should always feel free to speak up. No feelings are going to get hurt. I know if you have disagree or if you're like, Ark, I do not like the way that you did this, and this is why I'm asking this because you guys have played with me before.
My feelings are already hurt because I'm a dog person, not a cat person.
Those don't exist. Lichen bastard.
I would like to have a bit more roleplay than we have in the main game.
Mm-hmm.
Though I feel that also has more to do with the group that we have, and less with that you're not giving us enough opportunities. I would just, when it comes to roleplay, prefer more personal stuff than geopolitical stuff, so to speak.
Okay, so you want. Okay, that's part of that discussion too, because there's the two schools of thought on it. Do I take what the characters have and really try to weave it in, or do I say something might come up, but you're still in this world that maybe doesn't revolve around you? Okay, so
that's fine. Of course,
it's a bit of both.
It doesn't have to revolve around us, but I'd much rather have it at least have a core that is closer to the characters than the king is looking for a group of adventurers.
The king should not be the main character. Yeah.
We should hate the king.
Well, some of the kings are good guys.
I've never met a king I liked.
Percentage of combat. And for those of you who've played my games before, you can just say, no, I think you run the correct amount of adventure. I think you run the correct amount of combat. Read on.
I think combat percentage is lower. Right. I think it's a small thing. That's kind of how you wrap up a session. Right? You build up to it, maybe have a couple of small encounters, but you have a little bit of a boss action at the end or something. But I think that's another thing that changes. It's fluid. You might have one session that ends up being all combat because we just can't kill the fucker. And then you might have one session where you don't really roll initiative once.
Yeah. Well, so part of this question is, I think, Bobby, I talked to you a little bit about this, and probably Lex as well. I really liked 4th edition. And a lot of people will say that 4th edition is completely combat-oriented. And that's a huge fallacy. It just had a lot of rules for tactical combat. It's still D&D. But one thing I really liked from it was skill challenges and a few other things. So, part of this question is, do you want to focus less on actual combat that's, violence and fighting, and more on, other types of encounters? Or just whatever I come up with is probably correct? Or, I think the answer that no one's going to give is, no, we want it to be almost all combat. But
no, I say combat is the minority, but part of it, and it really depends on where your story leads us.
Yeah. Okay. I
have no problem with 3 hours of, oh my god, we're all going to die unless we kill this dragon.
Yeah.
As long as it fits the story. That's cool. I have no problem with nudity. My character will totally take his chainmail off. As long as it's good for the story.
Yeah.
Wait. All right. 0.5 then, which kind of gets into this. PvP tolerance. I have none, but that's for actual stabbing, not backstabbing, not subtle betrayal that makes sense. If the thief is like, oh, no one's looking, I'm going to take 10 coins out of this and then tell the party that there were 40 coins. That's different. That's not, and I know that's not classically PvP. What I don't want is Bobby's character goes to sleep, and Lex's character is like, I'm tired of what he's pushing for. I slit his throat in the night, or something to that effect. And we'll get into this. I don't want evil characters either. And we'll talk about alignment a little bit later down. But my PvP tolerance is low, and the other aspect of this is murder hobo. The game style of just like, I want you to be your characters in the game. I don't want you to be like, I had a bad day at work. Let me blow off some steam by being a dick and or murdering people. So for me, murder hobo is also just being a dick to people in the game because it's not real. And I know that's a lot to ask sometimes. I'm going to come home on a Friday a lot of times pissed. It happens. I get it. But I would rather we talk about that, and either if we want to just be like, hey, tonight can we just play a side game where we just dungeon crawl and kill shit, or we play evil characters for a little bit, like our evil twins. I'm down to do that more than I would like to taint the main game. Does all this make sense? I don't mean to sound preachy. It's just a huge pet peeve of mine. And we haven't had too much. I think there's only been like one instance in the other game where I've been like, oh, this is not right. But I've had other games where it gets fucking out of hand. So, thoughts?
I don't think my character can murder hobo if he tried. I mean, maybe if they were like, kobolds, I could squash a lot. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, that's why I like the idea of combat being sort of a lesser thing.
Yeah.
Open up more storytelling, more RP, more interaction. Still have some fun dice rolling and,
At its core, D&D is still a game about fantasy combat within a realm of other things. There will be plenty.
Right.
I'm not going to take the combat out of it.
The opportunity is always there to draw a
There
sword.
will be days we dungeon crawl and you'll have to fight several monsters. There will be days where negotiations went poorly and now you're going to have to fight some guards and get the hell out. There's going to be those opportunities.
The only games I've ever played of D&D that really sucked were the kind where you spend an entire session like looking for food and shelter because the DM is dragging you through a wasteland and making that part of the adventure, and you've never done that to us, so I'm not really worried.
That's a question on the list. How much more? Because I would like to do a little bit of the. Not to that extent.
A little bit of, hey, make sure we've got enough food and water is one thing, but to actually say, all right, so hour 8, you're still searching the cactus for one with water. That just gets old real quick.
I was going to do more like travel time is real. The reason I need to hook up my printer, I think I was talking about this earlier, I want to print out the calendar. I'm going to track time. Like actual time. I'll be able to tell you that it is... the 24th of Herol, which is Alest. I don't know. And that'll mean something to you. It doesn't matter. But sorry.
The back to the PvP thing just real quick. If the only time I think anything like that is okay is if there's like plenty of warning to the other character that one character's pissed at the other.
I agree with that.
So,
and if it fits the story and your character.
Fenn's shield, best thing about his life. If it ever is taken from him, it's almost like a berserker rage for him. So, like, if Bobby took my shield, I'd be like, hey, dude, you got to give that back. Give it back, and then draw sword. Like, that type of thing.
And that's different. Yeah, okay. I agree that makes sense. That's you playing a character. I also don't, but I don't want the phrase.
And if I take your shield, you
guys.
Should kick my ass.
It's important to know. I don't expect this from you guys. This is not where Lex is going to betray the party secretly by cutting a rope for no reason, thus pissing off Draken for the next 6 years.
And counting.
Yeah, it's been bad. Draken still hates Lex, like possibly in real life. I do not know. It's really crazy. For one moment in one forum game. And then the party's stupidity got Draken killed. that was the most unfair thing I've ever seen Solus do. Is kill Draken in that game. I get why, but I just felt it was not at all up to Draken, and that was not fair. Anyway, so I'll never do that to you. Don't worry. If the Wyvern attacks your super sci-fi awesome dropship, and he'll never pull one of your characters out because another character was too stupid to shoot it, and drew a knife instead. Let's be clear on that.
Well, my int is -1.
That's why those guys don't play our games with us. Oh my God, are two of you -1 int?
I can still bring it up and move it. Wait, you've managed it
I'm
as well?
-1 int.
I'm gonna move mine.
Well, I figure I'm a priest. I can't be very smart.
You didn't want to take the -1 to Dex?
Like that one.
You're in heavy armor and all that.
I should move mine.
You don't want to.
I'll
You
move
want to pull
mine.
the Omen Drawn and go with Dex?
I'm actually a +1 dex. No, I don't mind the -1 int.
All right.
So like, yeah.
I would very much prefer that the party were not all -1 int.
Well, I don't plan on
But-
playing. I don't plan on playing him like Forrest Gump. So don't worry
No,
about that.
you got to get low before that's.
I've moved mine. I'm
I'll,
cool with that.
Okay. It's
I'm now
fine.
+1.
Yeah, I'm +1 int now too. -1 wisdom.
I didn't mean to fuck anyone up.
No.
+1 wisdom. Just don't forget that's perception as well. But you can train yourself in perception and offset that, so you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to influence anyone. I think the variety would have been nicer than. I was kind of hoping someone would go with like the negative to strength, and then someone else goes the negative to dex, and then someone does the negative to intelligence or wisdom or whatever.
I've got a negative in strength.
Perfect.
I just also have a negative in wisdom.
As do I.
I have a 0 in charisma. Does that count?
No, you're good.
Oh, dang it.
Where did I get this back scratcher from? I feel like
That's-
wherever I would have gotten it from is now covered up by something else.
Are you sure it isn't the cat?
No, the cat is staring at it because it's her favorite thing. She likes to be scratched with it. Okay. I think we've covered that. I think we're all on the same page. I think we're in a good place.
Yay!
I just want everyone to remember that the point of this is to be a continuing adventure on the mostly good side of the spectrum.
Well, just so everybody knows, I played a win.
Skip these 3 points until later. The next one on my list, and these are, again, in no particular order, so I apologize for some of the randomness of this. I added to this list as things came to me. Player death. We've talked about this a little bit.
If I die, I'll roll another one.
There we go.
Yep.
I'll add,
I'll,
I ask the call, like what Colville asks for, 30 minutes. Fume, do whatever you want. Come back to the table, ready to go.
Right? No. See, it's different now though, because like if Thorlin died, I would have to like go cry for an hour.
That's a different thing. That's a
Right?
different game that I do not want people to die in because I think it's about the characters and the story more
and if this
specifically than in
character-
this.
If Grim gets to like level 7, I might cry when he dies. But at this point,
There's that point
I'll pull
too.
another one.
But I want us to go into I want you to connect to your character. I want it to mean something to you but I'm never going to just pull the rug out from under you. That's why I made you watch that.
Unless that's
that
the
video.
trap.
Well, yeah. That's why I wanted you guys to watch that video, and if you've watched his later videos, he talks about what he should have done, because he considers that his failure, in a couple ways. He thinks it was fair by the end, but he thinks he could have done other things.
Right. He feels
switching
like you
other
railroaded him
characters.
into the choice.
Well, to an extent, but he still feels
Right.
they should have known that it was coming.
Yeah,
So
he seems like he'd be a pretty cool dude to play with.
yeah. So my basic point is I'll never just kill you. And if
Unless
you do
the
die,
story calls for it.
it should be memorable and all that. Yeah. You're not going to die to a couple goblins just because, for the love of God, I can't roll above a 4, and these goblins are rolling 16, 17, 18, and just whatever. That's probably not going to happen.
Fuck you, goblins!
And it's going to be more than that.
I'm okay with that.
So I just want you guys to understand that these characters are not sacred. But
Did you ever hear George Martin talk about why he kills characters off?
Who?
No, Game of Thrones writer.
Yeah. So real quick thing. Basically, he says the biggest mistake an author can make is to fall in love with a character.
Yeah.
He says as soon as he falls in love with a character, he kills it so that it won't affect the story.
Yeah.
No. If Grimm dies, he dies. Maybe
Who's
he'll
Grimm?
come back. Maybe I'll roll something new. That's my character's name.
My theory is
Interesting name, Grim.
Grim Greywood.
Oh, nice.
So in the 2-player campaign that I've been playing for 8 years, we play once every 2 years for 3-4 hours. It's great. My partner is Grim. So my buddy Dan, who lives in Florida, still lives back home, is Grim Voidbringer, who his backstory is just kind of is laughable. It's not like a real backstory. It's he grew up in Mithril Hall as the other dark elf that no one talks about.
Oh, nice.
Because the other one gets all the attention.
That's awesome.
So he's kind of bitter about it, but in a oh man kind of way, and not in a. So he's I think he's an assassin.
That is
by
really
class,
cool.
not necessarily by background. And then I'm a wood elf wizard.
One of my
Too
players,
many numbers.
I think he got it from a Reddit post, but it was a background where you are literally like the brother of the chosen one.
Yeah.
So you're always
You're Craig Christ. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh my god, that was the most fun campaign because he was always bitter about shit. It was great.
Yeah. It doesn't come up a lot. We just kind of joke about it sometimes.
That sounds awesome.
It's funny.
Can I name a character Chuck Awesome Laser?
No, it's Chet
Yes.
Awesome Laser, by the way.
Oh, Chet. Awesome.
We'll call you Cal.
Last name Riel. Oh my God, she's acupuncturing my back. This is terrible. Okay, so I think we're good on that. Does anyone want to say anything about player death before we move on and I seal this forever?
Do it. Kill us.
I dare you.
All right, everyone subtract 2 from every stat.
Okay.
Shit.
The next conversation... You fucked up, son. The next conversation...
Changed all the pluses to a minus when you're...
Oh my god, how cool would a spell be that did that, or an effect did that? Like a negative... The
But
first
all
thing
of
that
a
came to
sudden
mind-
I'm a +1 int.
Yeah, we're I think there was a level in Final Fantasy IX that
Wait, that's what they meant.
your
Oh
worst-
my god.
your worst weapons were the best.
And I spend an hour having epiphanies.
Because you couldn't get rid of your original weapons, so that you could use them in this zone, or whatever. It doesn't matter. That'd be cool. That might happen. Don't worry about it. You'll never know. What does alignment mean? So here's the discussion where I want to have, what kind of party are we? I want to do away with lawful, evil, neutral good, chaotic good, neutral. I want to go lawful, neutral, chaotic. And here's what I want them to be. I want them to be very Michael Moorcock, right? I want them to be civilization, kingdoms, countries, governments are necessary so that we all thrive together, picking up the least among us and helping along. That's law, right? The laws are there to help humanity or elf-manity, half-manity, whatever they have out there, move along, right? Chaos is just no, everyone should be able to support themselves. The rule of law is not the best way to afford. Everyone being their own thing is better. Okay, so chaos is not batshit crazy, and it's not just wild. We're really talking about the difference between life out on the edge in the wilderness versus life in civilization under the rule of law. And the neutral is both sides are right, it just depends on the situation. Because, like I said, I want us to be on the good side of things. But I also want this to be a morally ambiguous campaign. In the sense of, I don't mind you taking, okay, well, someone wants you to rob a noble, and you take for a specific item. Maybe the noble's not the best guy, but, You maybe rob a little. Like there's moral ambiguity in places, and you can bend a little bit. But I don't want you to be murderers. I don't want you to be slavers. I don't want you to be
Damn.
asshole thieves and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Cattle rustlers.
God, I've played a slaver, but it's slaver is what I play in Solus's fantasy game, and it is rough sometimes.
Yeah, evil is hard to play sometimes.
It's harder to DM.
Evil
I
can
do
be
not
tough.
like I do not like doing it. Unless we
All I
decide we're
want
going
is
to go
to
in
destroy
and do it.
evil. Like since I was born, all I want to do is destroy evil things.
Right, but I also don't. So I didn't want you to be lawful stupid either. So I don't know if you believe in the rule
My
of
int
law.
is -1.
or
I
if
don't
you
know if you
bel-
caught that.
I did. So I don't know if you believe in the rule of law, or if you believe in you must be the change you want to see in the world, which is
Well, I
kind
guess
of a
that's
chaotic viewpoint.
It's all going to depend on
And so
how my angelic guide is going to affect me.
Oh right, I'm supposed to work on that. All right.
Well, I mean, if that motherfucker is telling me you need to go kill that asshole or you are not a real boy, then I'm probably going to be more likely to go murder hobo on that one person.
Well, right, but then that raises a conflict with you and with the party. Like, how are you going to
Right.
solve? Where is my back scratcher? Oh, I found
Back
it.
scratcher?
I'm
Back
pretty
scratcher?
sure you had it last.
I know, I did. That's what happens with it. I can never fucking find it.
Gotta
And I
go
have
find
this
a back
cat girl just
scratcher.
staring at me
Damn it.
from the Skype. Oh, that's why the cat got close to me. She's staring at me like glaring. Like, why are you scratching? I can hear it, but I can't feel it. She likes to have her like head scratched with it. It's really funny. Okay, so do you guys understand what I'm saying with the alignment and why I don't care about you being? I want you to decide what it means to you guys, but I don't want you guys to say I'm lawful good, I'm chaotic neutral. I just want you to play a character. I would like you to generally
That makes
stick
perfect sense.
to a mannerism and to a personality until it starts to change over time, and that's fine to me. But and this just gets back into the whole like I don't want you to come home from work one day pissed and then you're a dick.
Right, play the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're good there. More of a mechanical question, I guess. Random encounters. Forget what I was actually thinking when I wrote that down.
I prefer them random.
Encounters do it randomly. Wilderness will not be safe. I've said this. I've really harped on that. It's very Epic of Gilgamesh. Let's go with. It's very much about civilization versus wilderness. Even though most of the world seems civilized, and there's the road right there. Like maybe it's not. And even in some of the cities, there are going to be uncivilized parts. There's going to be wilderness within those cities. You know what I mean? But you should expect when you are outside the cities that the next turn could reveal, wild orcs or a marauding band of whatever, or an ogre. Sorry, now I have the hiccups. Or an ogre.
Oh, man, I hate those whatevers.
And I want you to understand that I will not be tailoring to your level.
Uh-oh.
Okay? Yeah.
So if we decide to go fuck with a dragon at first level, we're going to die, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, dragons don't exist, but yeah. Remember, dragons are mythical in this world. Yes.
That's the idea you're getting at.
If I throw at you something that, and like I've told you, I'm not using the monster manual entries. They will be the basis for what I do. I will try to give you an idea of what's going on. And rolls will tell you how strong something and all that kind of stuff. But if you come in and you see like this big ogre-looking thing, you're like, we're level 1. Can this thing destroy us? The answer might be yes. The answer might be you're not supposed to face that. I'm going to go with whatever. I'm going to roll the random encounter. And let's say you happen to, on the third day of traveling, you encounter something. And it may not be combat. It may be something else. The answer may not be that Ark gave us something that's going to be challenging, and then we win and we get XP. That is not accurate. That is, Ark gave you whatever the roll said I would give you. And that might outclass you by, do you know how CR works in 5th edition? Challenge rating? Okay. How much 5th edition experience do you have?
So I've played a lot of 3rd and 3.5.
Okay.
So I know there's a lot of similarities there.
There are.
But
It's basically a streamlined version of 3.5, in my opinion.
yeah, that's what
Very
my
much so.
says.
So I want you to feel like you're part of a world, not that the world is just closer to the cities, probably safer, because the big scary shit won't be within reach of the people who could take care of it, right?
Basically, what you're saying is Leroy Jenkins dies
Yeah,
in
and takes
this
his party
world.
with him,
Mm.
just like in the video. 'Cause goddamn
I have
eggs,
no
man.
problem with run and hide
Goddamn eggs.
a lot.
Yeah, no, so understanding that retreat is an option. This brings us down to I'm going to bring up a point from later on in the list, which is I just wrote down Kobayashi Maru, and I feel like that's an important point to have. This is not the first time I've written this down in the game. It's not the first time I've referenced it in the game. It's the quote-unquote no-win situation from Star Trek, right? I presume all of you are familiar. Lex, maybe not as much. I don't know how much Star Trek you know, but
Very little.
okay. So it's an unwinnable situation. The idea is it's a simulation, and the point is to watch how the officer candidate or the cadet reacts to the situation. Are they going to go try to save the ship that they know they're violating treaties? If they go do, if they don't, if they do go rescue it, it's guaranteed that their ship will also be destroyed. They don't know that at the time, but
Let's be fair,
how
though.
do they handle it and
The
whatnot?
lesson of Kobayashi Maru is that Kirk won because he cheated.
Kirk didn't cheat. Well, he did cheat. Kirk didn't. Kirk did not beat the Kobayashi Maru. Kirk changed the win condition, which is a very different thing. He made it beatable, which
And then
there's
he
a
won.
whole conversation. Yeah, So the point is, yes, there might be a ways around it, but it's the idea that sometimes the correct answer is to run away. Sometimes the correct answer is the further you go, just like in what Matt Colville was doing, the further you went in, the more your options narrowed. And then the more your options narrowed. And then all of a sudden you only have so much. And if you decide that you're going to try this thing, it could result in player death. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
again, just a discussion to have, but I think you guys are with me on that. So, random encounters, I would like to make the map more of a thing. I don't know if I'll have time to make more zoned maps in. I would like to. I would like to be able to make everything at all the time, just immediately. But my thinking is, I'm gonna do travel time. So if you leave on, and so my calendar has 7 days to a week, 26 days to a month, and there are reasons for those. And there are 12 months, and each is basically named after a god. I'm going to keep track of where we are as we go. So traveling through the wilderness will roll every, a hex is however many 30 miles, let's say, and I'll roll every hex to see, and maybe there will be some, cumulative add. If you try to, the more hexes you go, the more chance you have that you'll fight something, right? Or encounter something, and encounters are not always fights, so I should be careful with that. Encounters are anything that require you guys to deal with something, right?
Anything that stops their forward progression.
Exactly that.
I watched that one today too.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of this list is from that. I've been playing that while I've been working on other things. So a lot of that list is like I had that going on at work while I'm just organizing files and stuff like that. So a lot of this list is like, oh yeah, that reminds me, I need to. And luckily, a lot of his ideas do mesh with a lot of my ideas. I don't agree with him on everything, but a lot of his ideas do mesh with a lot of my stuff. And so it reminds me that these are questions I needed to have with you guys. So my random encounters will be very similar to his. Maybe there's just a goblin band. Maybe they're not evil. Maybe you can deal with them or whatever. Maybe but maybe they have prisoners and you want to free them. So there's all these things. So unless you guys don't want to do that kind of stuff and you want to stick more to there can be an encounter on the road, but I want it to be more like an established story thing. and then that's it.
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
I figured,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to start getting into
You,
these mechanics.
you
and things with
guide the
guys.
story. We'll try to derail it, and then we'll try to overcome the shit you throw at us for trying to derail it. That's how D&D works.
I'll set the route, and you'll just fucking plow through.
That's it.
Yeah. Like you may say turn left and then turn right and then left again, but we're just gonna skip the turns and barrel through the mountain. That's how it works, right? That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
True.
Have you watched his one where he's describing the sandbox versus the railroad game? I know Bobby
Love that.
has.
Not yet. I
It
haven't.
took me entirely too long to realize what he was doing.
Wasn't that fantastic,
Yeah,
though?
I won't spoil it for you so that you can watch it later, but it's really funny.
Really good. And surprisingly, it fits so well.
It does. Have you watched? Oh my God, these are amazing. Have you? Sorry, I'm opening my package from earlier today. Have you watched his one on the deck of many things?
That's the one that I stopped before. It's when I
Don't-
left work.
Don't
so.
watch that one, please.
Oh,
I am
okay.
not going to use the deck of many things, but I am going to use tarot cards for something because
I had
I
a
have
whole
his
campaign based on the deck of many things.
I have his
In
deck
fact,
of tarot cards.
one guy
his
had to
exact
re-roll
one.
his character twice because his soul got zapped by the deck of many things.
That's pretty cool. So I have the same deck of tarot cards that he uses for the deck of many things, and I actually want to use them as a special system, and we'll get to that. I'm not the biggest fan of the inspiration system in 5th edition. I like it well enough, but I think there are other things that can be cooler. So
What's the inspiration system?
So if you do something that's like core to your brand, something that like maybe puts you in danger, but it's what your character would do, like good role playing. It's a way for me to reward good play.
Mhm.
And basically, you can spend it or you can give it to someone, and it allows them to re-roll the d20. It's a free advantage.
Oh, okay.
It's cool, right? That's a great little mechanic. But
Yeah.
I forget to hand it out. Players forget to use it. And so after two campaigns of me not feeling like I was able to hand it out enough, and then also watching as no one used it because they forget about it, I didn't want to do it anymore. So what I did in our main game, the other one Lex and Bobby play in, I gave them each a special power based on their character, not on their class. I mean, they're kind of class inspired, obviously, because that's part of their character. But basically, the idea is like Kanto has what I think bards should have, which is just you play music and you sway people's minds and moods. But he only gets one cast of that per whenever I decide to give them inspiration or this ability, right? I forget what Callista's is. I forget what it does. But it's something about using the wild magic chaos and trying to control it. I don't remember if it's a force roll and you get to do something or what. I legitimately have forgotten what it is. So we might have to talk about that at some point. Bobby's is to like summon one of his spirit ancestors and talk to it or have it do something.
Cool.
Drew's a satyr. Drew summons fairies, and based on his role, they either rob him blind, which is what happened the one time he used it, or they help him out. And so you spend this, but then you have to make a check of some sort. So like Lex's is magic based, so you make an Arcana check. Drew's is dealing with fairies, so he makes a persuasion check. And depending on how well that check is rolled, that's what you get. So Drew rolled a 1, and the fairies robbed him. It was a high-speed mugging is what it was. Anyway, I don't want to do that in this game. I want to do something else. And this is what I get for not taking notes when I had the exact idea. But I have this deck of tarot cards. And I want to... it won't be handing them out, so I'll just tell you what you fucking get. And you'll hold on to it for as long as you want. And basically you can cash that tarot card in... or not. You can either do it immediately. Some of them will be forced immediate. Some of them will not be. and they'll have different meanings. But a lot of their meanings are going to mesh with the deck of many things, which is why I don't want you to watch that one. If you don't mind skipping it.
That's fine.
Or, feel free to, if you just want to keep character and player knowledge separate, that's fine too. I mean, I trust you guys to be able to play. It just might be more of a spoiler than... especially if you don't know what the deck of many things is and what's in it. But
I'm very familiar.
okay,
So.
then go ahead and watch the video.
Yeah.
Now the question is, because I would typically hand this out as a reward, do I want to avoid the negative ones? And I don't want to do the you are fucked ones. Those are gone. Don't worry about those. I won't kill your character. I won't give you negative levels. I have no problem with the devil trying to stalk you and kill you. That's fine. That's okay. Those are different issues. So the next question is, are you okay with that system? Instead of inspiration, a fate system where you can use your tarot card to control something, right? So you kind of want to use it to rewrite a little bit of what's going on, depending on what it is.
What have I played that has a mechanic like this, where you can actually rewrite a bit of the story?
Yeah, we're not doing that. I know what you're talking about, and no, we're not doing that. I debated that, and I was like, probably dangerous. I don't want everyone
Well,
to have the
it's not like you can rewrite a major point, but you can go back and say, oh, you know what, I had this in my pocket.
Yeah.
It was a great game, too, and now I can't think of what it was.
GURPS has a special ability where you can do that.
No, this is... it's not Fate Core either. It's the one that Firefly and Leverage are based on, because it was Leverage we were playing.
No, I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
So, I haven't worked out all the kinks on that. I don't have a chart. I don't have what everything does. But I like the idea of... especially because I have a prop deck and a box. Which the box I got from Matt Colville. The tarot cards I happen to already own. And actually, I have the exact same set he does, which is pretty cool with the gold side. But yeah. So I'd like to institute some sort of fate card system on the side instead of inspiration.
I like that. I think that's cool.
I just don't know exactly what that means yet. And I told Solus something the other day, and of course the fucking conversation was not saved. But it was good at the time. I'll probably let you guys start with something too. Doesn't matter. Okay. What have we talked about? We've talked about the campaign. Keep going. Next, another 4th edition issue. Minions. So those of you who didn't play 4th edition or didn't...
I know the minion rule.
Yeah, so even at high levels. So when you get high enough level to where ogres are minions, right? I would like to maybe keep some of that around. No promises, but I just want to make sure something like that. And that kind of...
If something dies the first time I hit it, I am not going to complain.
Yeah, I figured as much. The other point of that would be I want to institute 4th edition rules on certain things. And what I mean by that is using 4th edition, especially in combat, using 4th edition abilities of enemies, just to give more dynamic combat. Nothing will change for you guys. I think players are plenty dynamic in 5th edition. I think enemies lack a little bit at some times. Now, granted...
Well, that sounds like a Dungeon Master's failure.
But a few more options here or there on certain enemies. I'll probably reinstitute the bloodied rules.
Ooh.
I don't know what those are.
Yeah, so that's I tell you when something is at half health.
Yeah, when something's bloodied, you've killed half of its HP.
And I still use that all the time now, just as a descriptor.
Everybody does. Oh, it looks bloodied.
But it might also have abilities linked to it.
Not to derail, but did you read that Reddit conversation in game where the cleric asks somebody, "Hey, how many HP do you have?" And the DM's like, "Hey, you can't know that."
Oh, yeah.
you can kind of know what a player looks like based on blah blah blah. So they're like, okay, how you feeling? And the player says, well, on a scale of 1 to 43, I feel like about a 13.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care so much about the, that kind of stuff. That's fine to me, whatever. There's
It
a
comes
certain
down to
level of
table
meta
talk.
that's just what it is, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, it comes down to table talk, and there's always a certain amount, but you'll have to draw the line when you're sick of it.
And I'll be like, guys, I think that's too far. Oh, one rule, and Adam, you wouldn't know this, but the other you two do. I have a house rule that I like to enforce. If you come to something where you're like, oh, we need to make an Arcana check, you don't get to say, hey, one of you who has good Arcana, make an Arcana check. If it's your idea to make an Arcana check, you make the Arcana check. If that makes
I like
sense.
it.
Yeah. So it happens, even though they know it, you guys still do it sometimes in the other game where you're like, oh, we're gonna.
What if I say,
okay,
hey, Lex's character, you need to make an Arcana check?
No. If you're like, I will accept. This looks magical. Can you, wizard? Can you see what? Try to identify. That's different.
Can you do that other thing that's not the Arcana check that you should do?
They won't be so crazy different. Like, you'll understand what an ogre is. You'll understand what a chimera is. You know what I mean? But they'll be a little different.
You kind of have to mix up stat blocks because the monster manual is available to all of us.
Also, yes. I also will say that I like, and Colville talked about this one recently, and these are two good examples, I think. One is the Medusa petrifying people. Rather than looking at you, you fail a save, you're petrified. What she did in 4th edition was she cast the spell, and anyone who, or used the ability, and anyone who saved was just kind of slowed as they, or maybe that was sleep. Sorry, let's go with sleep first. If you passed your save, you were kind of staggered and slowed because you were like, oh, drowsy. And if you failed, you started to fall asleep, and if you failed again, then you fell asleep. I think that's how that worked. Petrify, if you saved out of it, you just shook it off, I think. And if you didn't save out of it, you started to slow down for a round. And then if you didn't save out of it again, you got like even more slowed or something like that, right? Or you became stationary, or something to that effect. And then if you failed again, you turned to stone. So like those more kind of gradual qualities, I think I might look into kind of stuff like that. I'm not saying that one specifically, but that notion of how abilities work and all that. And again, just for the enemies.
I think that as far as anything enemy related that is not something that is available to us, it doesn't matter if it's a trap effect, an ability effect, a political thing. I think anything that's as dynamic as that, like, I think that's awesome, and it just tells a better story, and so I am all for that, and I would honestly like to see it, but not on everything. Some stuff be standard, some stuff be special,
Yes.
other stuff be different flavors of special.
Goblins will not be batshit crazy. You know what I mean? Goblins are going to be goblins. Kobolds usually, if you're fighting kobolds in like their lair, you should watch out for traps as well as the fight. You know what I mean?
And you're still first level.
Yeah, dragons will be like I don't know. I can't think offhand of what dragons can actually do in 5th edition, but like
kill us.
Well, yeah.
No, we're fine against dragons because they don't exist.
Well, yes.
Good point.
They are mythical and legendary. So let's go with. I don't want every fight because I like the Nothic. The Nothic died terribly because he couldn't get anything done. I would have liked to have been able to flip on the side on like at the moment and just kind of give it some other options.
I thought that combat worked really well.
In fairness, I did just play it straight out of the book, and that's whatever, and it just didn't work. But I find that player AC is high, their ability to hit is high, enemy AC is low. It's pretty easy to save out of most effects until you either go from really easy to save out of, or like, holy shit, we're fucked. There's no real in between. And I don't want enemies just to be like, it claws at you. Claws at you again. Another good example that Calvo used, and I loved this in 4th edition. 4th edition combat was fantastic, but it requires a grid and a board more than not, so I can't do everything from that. But if you're fighting gnolls and you become bloodied, they get a free bite against you. I like stuff like that, where they get to do something. And I also have my list of not-so-legendary actions. So there's the legendary actions, there's not-so-legendary actions, and there's stuff like this, where the
Pretty mundane action.
if they bloody you,
The dragon is going to do its laundry.
If a gnoll or something similar to a gnoll gets a crit, it's probably going to bite you as well as the crit. Like, things like that are things that I want to throw in to this.
Yes. Love it. All of it.
I'm down.
Which, again, just makes the world more dangerous to you. And all I ask is that you trust me, that I know what I'm doing, or can adjust on the fly.
The entire universe is trying to kill us. So why should you be any different?
So, there's that. Okay. Any questions on 4th edition? It should be noted I do not have the 4th edition books. Okay. XP system. There's 2 options. XP for encounters. You know, okay, goblins are worth 25. You fought 4 goblins. That's 100 points. They weren't able to kill their hostage. That's another 300 points. So this encounter was worth 400 points. Therefore, you all get 150 points or whatever, right?
Boo.
Or, you skirt the trap, or you find the way to get through the trap in a really creative way. All right, you get the 2,000 points for the encounter. Like, if that had been enemies worth of difficulty and whatnot, that would have been 2,000 experience, so you still get that. Or you manage to lock the goblins in their cave, or you treat with their leader, so you get the XP that you would have gotten for fighting them, for overcoming the encounter. No matter how you get past an encounter, you get XP for that encounter. Sometimes you might get like capturing the big bad thieves guild leader instead of killing him might be worth an extra 2,000 for getting him to stand trial somewhere. That might be an extra 2,000 experience versus just killing him. So stuff like that is different, but any encounter is worth XP regardless of what the encounter is, combat or not. The other one, which is a little bit trickier without a campaign book, unless I just write down like everything, which I want this to be a little bit more open world sandbox, is milestones. And Lex is maybe more familiar with this, unless one of you have used this or played this otherwhere.
I am a big fan of milestones.
Are you really?
I am. And I'll tell you why. It lets you, as a DM, manage where your players go regardless of what they do with the story.
That's fair.
So the way I've always done it with a milestone system is, as we get to a point in the story where I expect them to be coming up against the bigger, the badder, the next chapter in the adventure, I will tell them, okay, time to level up. Which happens really quick at first, but by the time you get to like 3rd, it takes a while to get to 4th, maybe 3 or 4 sessions before you're on to 5th. But eventually there comes a point in the story where you're like, okay, yeah, it's about time. Everybody needs to go up to the next step. It is a little bit more complicated because it's not simple math. You kind of have to judge whether or not it works for where you're taking us in the storyline, and it's completely arbitrary and up to you.
Because in Strahd, it went way faster than it ever would in this game. So, Lex,
well, and in
your perception of Strahd is probably different than
Storm King's Thunder. Same way. Like every chapter, you're up a level. Yeah. So I like Milestone because it lets you moderate the pace of the game.
Without me having to first calculate what everything's worth.
Right. Well, and honestly, there comes a point where if you feel like things are stagnating and you're not sure where to go, hey, everybody level up, and it changes things.
Potentially.
There's a lot of give and take you have with it. There are some downsides because it's kind of completely on you, and ooh shit, sorry, I didn't mean to leave you at level 3 for 16 sessions. Let's go to level 4, that kind of thing. But I really like Milestone.
So. In our main
I really don't like math.
Well, yeah, I'm okay with math. In our main game, you guys stayed at 5th level a little longer than I meant to, but part of that was we just kept getting interrupted, and then we just made no progress. What I try to do is do one of two things. I either add in a bunch of XP for like good sessions, good role play. So at the end of the session, I'm like, you know what? Today was worth 4,000 experience for everyone, even though you only killed 2,000 worth of monsters or whatever, right? I also like to apply secretly. I like to apply like multipliers. So I'm like, oh, I liked what you did here. Therefore, you get 25% more experience for everything you do the next session. I get that
Well,
we leveled slower than perhaps. I mean, we've been playing for these characters for at least 4 years, and you're only level 7.
well, but to be fair,
We play
everything
once,
after like 4 takes forever,
and we play once a month, and
right?
we
And we skip a few
skip
months in the
months,
wintertime,
yeah.
and we have special games. Yeah, so we get what,
So
8 in a year?
ish, yeah. So maybe it's not terrible.
I haven't
Um,
felt slowed. The nice thing about Milestone
at times
is
at least.
when you're ready to advance us on to the next big bad crazy monster idea or crazy plot twist, if you aren't sure we can handle it, it's real easy to say, all right, guys, it's time to go up to level 4.
So the thing about that is, I don't necessarily want to tell you where to go next. I know what the bad guys are. I know what their motivations are. I know what they're planning to do. I know generally what's happening in the world.
But based on what we've done and where we're headed, you'll have an idea of what we're in for next session.
Ish, yeah, yeah, for sure.
Ish, right?
I hate ending a
So.
session where you haven't made the decision of what to do next, because then I can't do anything to like further prep.
Right?
It kills me.
See, on those
And I just
sessions,
worry
you
about it.
you roll it over until we figure it out. Plus, I don't know, you're caught up. I don't know if you caught it, but Walnut gets to level up before everybody else.
Wait. No. I didn't watch this week.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't watch episode 3. I forgot what
Let,
day it comes
let
out.
me just say that it is. I have been recently reminded that the group does not all necessarily have to level up at the same
Yeah, I know
time.
that's true. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't like the idea of making it an arbitrary thing, but there are instances, as you may well discover when you watch this week,
That's
where
that's not a
it
spoiler for me. I'm
actually
okay with
works
it.
out to be it works out to be a really interesting dynamic in certain cases.
So if you guys are okay with that
I
and you
prefer
want
the
that,
idea of everybody kind of moving as a group,
okay.
but there are, I mean,
Because I'd rather reward you guys
I've
in
had
other
instances
ways.
where a book or a scroll has advanced a character 50,000 XP by rule, and all of a sudden they're a level or two ahead of their rest of the group. So
Right.
So
it can be interesting and fun.
my thing is, and with 3 people, we're probably never going to do this, but if someone can't make it to a game and we still play, the person who didn't play doesn't miss out on experience. So like if Adam, if something happens and you have a family emergency, hopefully not, but or like something comes up and you're like, you know what, I totally spaced, I can't play tonight, and it's the day of. But Lex, Bobby, and I had still had our schedule cleared. Um, and we're going to be like, you know what, let's just dungeon crawl or something, right? We'll just fuck around. Those characters won't get experience or level up. Even if we were doing experience and not milestones, they wouldn't experience, and they wouldn't get good items. They'd get like maybe inspiration for having played. Just like, here it is. Thanks for playing, or
That
whatever.
way you're not penalizing somebody because their kid was sick.
I will never
Yeah.
penalize someone for not showing up to a game. Yeah.
That's cool.
Appreciate that.
I mean, I appreciate warning, but I understand what happens. So I will never penalize anyone, especially XP wise. So you don't have to worry about that. Um, and what I would probably do for this group would be to divide XP by 2 instead of 3 if we were to do XP for monsters. If that
So
makes
I
sense.
think
But
I think we could probably do a little bit of both, right?
and I tend to do a little bit of both. Yes.
Well, what I'm saying is like we could do a little bit of both inspiration mixed with XP. And the only reason I suggest that is because, well, hear me out. So with as dangerous as you want the world, if we hit a random encounter that is way outside our level and
Yeah.
by the grace of God somehow win, I don't necessarily want you to be like, hey, you shouldn't have won that. Have a level. It's like, cool, that was really, really awesome. I'm going to give you half a level or something like that so that now you're a level and a half. And if you do something like that again, now you've got that level. Do you see what I'm
So
saying?
let me follow you. So let's say you fight something that's worth 20,000 experience, and you kill it,
Sure.
and that's enough to level you up twice. Or once. Let's just go with once because it's easier math. What are you saying happens?
So I'm not necessarily saying that we get a set number. I'm saying like, hey, this fight, which may be worth 20,000 experience, this fight you should not have been able to win because it was CR, 8,
Yeah.
and you're levels 3 right now, right?
Yeah.
So maybe instead of, well, you shouldn't have beat that, so here's your level. How about you shouldn't have beat that, here's half a level that you get to like store up, and then you do it again
Interesting.
next session, or you do that twice in one session. That's your level.
That's not bad. So rather than you getting an immediate level
Yeah,
up just for them.
it's not like it's it still gives that reward of, hey, we did something really cool today,
Yeah.
and you get that instant gratification as a player, but it also lets you still control the pace of the game.
Sure. Me That's not unfair. In that situation, I actually would not have a problem with you leveling up from that. I would have no problem with that. Whether or not you guys would, I don't know if you're saying that you would rather it not level you up. That's fine too. We wouldn't level up during the game. You would just have a level at the end of the game. I'd be like, all right, next session you're
Yeah.
going to be this because, in my opinion, on that one, I think you earned it. If you killed something that was going to give you enough experience, split between the, however, if I split it by 3 or split it by 2, whatever it is, 2 is a little bit of a nice bonus for you guys. Then
Yeah, I said
that's
half as an
interesting.
arbitrary number.
No, I get it, but that is interesting.
So maybe we collectively get a percentage as opposed to like a flat number. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
so this would have been worth this much XP to you, and since we're going flat, you could look at it and say that's approximately 3%. Now it stacks up, and maybe we do something like that for monsters.
There's also story options that are viable, having like a hero tracking system where you start to become like folk heroes, right? So people start to hear that you killed this great monster on the road. Now you have like, instead of just getting the one spot you would have gotten if you had like taken care of these bandits, now you've moved up 5 points, right? And so it's getting you closer to I don't know, like being able to have your own base of operations and getting people to help you out and follow. So there's options like that would work in too, which is where I lean towards maybe wanting milestones over anything else, is that it allows me to reward you guys only with other things. I do like the normal XP system better than milestones. Just flat out, I do like it better. Just because it's based on what you've actually done and not just generally where I kind of think you guys are. Especially if I'm not as certain, I don't want to hold you guys back or accelerate you guys too fast. Where I was saying, and this is where I thought you were going originally when you were saying hybridize. So I apologize for interrupting you a little bit, but what I meant was, or what I was thinking was, I tend to hybridize the two systems of XP, milestone and reward, in the sense of, especially for like level 1 to 3. You may not earn quite enough experience to get to level 3, but I might jot you up. Or I tend to give out bonus rewards, and I'll probably be a lot better about this moving forward because I'm thinking about it more. So like, oh, you guys are 10,000 away from your next level, and what you killed today was worth 6,000, but you did some other cool stuff, and I think you're pretty much at the point where we've been level, I don't know, 8 long enough, and it'd be nice for you guys to go up to level 9, and that's where you get your big level 5 spells, and that's cool. Yeah, let's go ahead, and here's your 4,000 experience each as a bonus for having done X, Y, and Z. And no, I didn't plan that out ahead of time. I didn't have it on a list of whatever. It's just I knew you needed that much more, but I think you earned it for this. And hopefully it never sounds disingenuous. But
It sounds like a hybrid points and milestone system.
it's what I've been doing in the other game too. I just have been lacking a little bit here and there. Because there are sessions where we don't fight anything, so I forget to give you guys XP.
So are you saying we should be level 8 in the other game?
You will be soon.
Aha.
Sorry, sooner is what I meant. Than you were level 7.
Oh, okay.
Because the actions
That's
are
cool.
also ramping up, right? The problem there was I decided they're in basically what is an amusement park, pocket dimension thing, just because fuck it, I guess at the end of the day. But I picked
'Cause you could.
an adventure from the 70s that I got in the new Yawning Portal book, which is a collection of adventures and modules. And as much as I like running campaign books, I probably won't ever do it again, which is unfortunate. But
I'm not a fan of books either.
it's because Thorlin can't read.
That's totally why.
We just got bogged down in this way. I didn't realize how rough it was going to be at places. And I wanted you guys to have the experience of getting to run this like famous adventure from like the 70s.
That Yawning Portal book is no fucking joke, though.
No, it's not. And I was planning to use one of the other ones, and you know which one I was planning to use, and I still probably
I'm
will
pretty
use
sure.
Because why? If I own the book, why am I not going to use that?
Well, you'd have to. I have not read it specifically, so if you run it, I will not know it.
I know. And I won't run it exactly as it is. Don't worry. But
I looked at the page with the map, like for a second, and I'm like, oh yeah,
that's enough.
Put that away now.
That's terrifying. That map is horrible.
I didn't even look at what the symbols meant.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It all means death. It's
I'm
awful.
sure they're all bad.
We'll talk about what that means later. He's talking about Tomb of Horrors.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been remade for 5th edition, and I own it because I own Yawning Portal. So Yawning Portal is White Plume Mountain, Temple of Tomoe-chan, which is what I ran them through. Death in Thay, Tomb of Horrors, Sunless Citadel, which I have always run. Oh my god, I've always wanted to run a party
Sunless
through
Citadel
Yes.
is so fun.
I
That's a
owned
cool
the
adventure.
3.5 module, and I never got to run anyone through it. Because I never understood
Citadel?
when I had all the stuff. I got them for my 13th birthday, the core rulebooks. My sister gave them to me for my 13th birthday because she knew I had been looking at them, and I thought they were cool, but I didn't know what they were. I didn't know how to understand them, and I didn't have any friends who could help me through it or play. And I never asked my parents to sit down and read the books and help me figure it out, and I should have, because I would have been into D&D way earlier, rather than like after college.
Yeah.
Anywho, I've always wanted to run Sunless Citadel, and maybe we will do that. Maybe you can run it if you know it for this group as like a break.
Ooh.
Because I don't know enough about it to make that a problem for me, and you know it enough probably that you could DM it.
Yeah.
Reasonably.
That would be fun.
I don't know how to get you the adventure. I'm sure we can find the book on. Anyway, moving on.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I have a copy machine and a scanner at work.
I was thinking that too. I was like, I could just copy it. I don't know what I'm doing. That's Maggie. She says hello.
Meow. I'm being stared at from the other end of the kitchen by my 90-pound pit bull, who I think wants to go to bed.
Dad, it's
Maggie
bedtime.
Maggie won't go to bed until I go to bed.
Well, he
sometimes she
generally doesn't go to bed without his mom or my son, one of the two. So he's waiting for someone to take him.
She'll sleep on my leg all night, so she'll wait until I go, which is great. 'Cause she does not wake me up, which is fantastic. She sleeps through the
Magnus.
night because she does not leave.
Who's my good boy? What
okay.
you doing?
So, XP system.
So I like what you. I actually think. I like what you're describing, like with your numbers and everything. And I like numbers just personally for the sake of, like, I get excited when I see numbers.
That's the other thing.
Right.
It's like rolling. I think it's nicer for you to know, oh shit, we're getting close. One more of those and we're there, as opposed to me being like, you know, the next time you reach a city, you might be level 7. I thoroughly did not like milestones in Strahd, but they were not my milestones. But there was also no way for you to get the correct amount of XP by doing anything without like some very hefty bonuses.
Well, I think the way they set up those new adventures, because the last 3 or 4 have been very modular, is they expect you to let the characters, or they expect the characters and the players to just wander around and explore things and spend a lot more time in each chapter than most people, I think, do.
I think that's true.
My players just blitz through that shit. I had one guy take out an entire level of Hill Giants,
Okay,
maybe.
yeah.
I forget which one they were, but like, oh, I'm just the tidal waves and just demolished everything with a couple of spells, and everybody's dead, and we're like 10 minutes into the day, and I had to fill 3 more hours.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
I
I'm
don't disagree with that. I think they're excellent books, but
They're
I
great for
don't
what they
disagree with
give
that.
you, but I don't like running adventures from them. I like using them for ideas, but I'd rather
And that's why I
do
had
my
to.
own.
That's why we have to play in this world.
Right.
That's why I wanted to do this
Well,
one.
I don't even mind
The
playing
map
in
of this world is
Faerun.
my background on my desktop. So like,
I don't even mind playing in Faerun, but I just want to let my players do some
oh, I
stuff
get
and
that.
figure out some cool puzzles and things to do, and
Well, that's why you're in such a
who's
fucking
trying to
weird
fuck them and
place.
why.
Yeah, that's why you're such a Well, the answer for Lex is Desiree, but and
But
cuz,
why? Why?
just cuz damn. Um,
It was Sebastian, but
the Sebastian,
that story is ended. Sebastian.
fucking lizard. Um, XP rewards, in some form or fashion for encounters are the way to go. And if you guys don't reach level 6 via whatever methodology I give you, you don't reach level 6. With the expectation that I will be
So level 6 is the
generous
hard
at the
one.
time.
It's like 3, 4, 5, no problem. 6 is the tough one, and then after that, like straight through to 20.
Yes.
yeah.
This is my last real point, I guess,
Oh,
before we
thank
open it
God.
up to whatever other discussion we want to have. Or take a break and then go, or whatever we want to do. Or we can just end. That's fine too. This is one that came up today because I wasn't sure if I was going to ask you guys about it, and I watched the video on it, Colville's video. I mean, I read obviously all Mike Merle's stuff on it. I watched Colville's video again today while I ate dinner just to see initiative.
Stick with standard initiative.
You want to stick to standard?
Yeah.
There's a lot of really creative, cool ideas out there, but in my opinion, they're all extremely cumbersome.
They are, and I think this one
Standard
is more.
initiative is about as cumbersome as it gets and still be able to progress with combat. Some of them just get a little bit outrageous.
So the only other option I was considering, just so you guys know, is modified Mike Merle's method. And Mike Merle's method, who Mike Merle's is the lead designer for D&D 5th edition, just for the record. Um, his method is your initiative is
His
based
Holiness.
on what you do, or what you're going to do in the turn. And that determines how fast or slow you are. And you roll a different die based on what kind of action you're going to take. And the only modification I'm going to make to that is I don't think weapons should be just D6 or whatever for or D4 for melee, D8 for ranged, and then D12 for spells. I think it should be different depending on what kind of weapon you're wielding.
See, the problem with the system is every time it comes to somebody's turn, you're going to have to explain to us, okay, which die am I rolling for my initiative now? And so combat, the whole beginning of combat gets slogged.
It does, because you have to say, this is what I'm going to do on my turn, and I'll tell you, okay, this is what you're going
Right.
to roll.
Okay, and then we go through all of that, and then we roll.
I think it
And then we
is
figure it out.
easier at a live table.
Probably.
But, and I'm going to try to maybe do this with my live group. Although none of them are great at rolling and doing all that, so that might be a nightmare. I wanted to offer the option if you guys wanted to try something new. So the idea would be like, so for weapons, you would roll a die equal to the damage die of the weapon. That's how we would figure out your initiative, right? So anything, a dagger would be a D4, so you roll a D4 to determine your initiative. Initiative starts at 1 and goes up instead of the other way around. So low initiative is actually what you want. Spells that are a bonus action to cast, instead of a D12, like all spells cast in his method, I would say a bonus action is a D6.
What if I was casting Guiding Bolt? Would I get 4d6?
No, because that would not be based on that. It would be like I
Then
think
I don't like
spells
this.
would be.
I don't like this method at all.
Well, it wouldn't be based on your damage. It would be based on. For spells, it wouldn't be based on damage. It would be based on probably either. I liked what Colville said, which was which I had not considered, spell level added to your roll. So like like a bonus action or a spell that was a bonus action, like Healing Word, that would just be a D6 or even a D4, probably a D6. And then the like any other spell would be like, let's say, a D8 plus the spell level, except for cantrips, which are just D4s or D6s.
To me,
pew, pew, pew.
Combat is what slows the game down the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And to slow it down further by complicating the initiative method, to me, it seems absurd. I mean, I am totally down with whatever His Lordship, the DM, decides.
I know.
But in my opinion, I think the standard method is just about the most streamlined, simplified way you can decide who goes next.
I just hate how important Dex is.
Well, that's
I'm
kind of the point of Dex.
I'm with Bobby here, honestly.
I don't disagree. It's important to note that.
I agree with Bobby as well.
I think
now I
you're...
don't, Lex. So now I'm questioning everything.
Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry.
Maybe next time you
it's
could
like
just
when the
disagree with me.
KKK agrees with you, and you're like, oh, what did I fuck up?
Did you just call Lex KKK?
Wow, dude,
I mean,
that was harsh.
Lex may not be familiar enough with American history to understand just what a
The Dutch
slight that was.
invented the slave trade. Don't give me this.
I'm not sure if they invented burning crosses on your lawn, though.
Yeah, like anyone in the KKK was smart enough to invent anything. Maggie agrees.
Okay, now you've called him stupid and racist.
Maggie is a white cat. Let's be clear on that.
So
orange wings. Yes, you are.
I think that we just go with standard initiative, and if you don't like Dex being that important, take it out.
Well, or you know what?
It's literally the only thing that you use for initiative.
Here's an option for you. If you don't want Dex to be so important, let us choose which stat we use for initiative.
I was thinking we could have, maybe it's an average of 3 stats. And here's what I was thinking. It's
or maybe I'll just use my wisdom.
It's wisdom, Dex, or would intelligence work?
Not for me, but wisdom does.
I mean, not for you, but would intelligence be the other one that makes sense?
Or why would that make sense over strength?
I don't have a great answer for that.
I think just keeping as it is with Dex is fine enough.
It is fine. It is fine enough. The only reason I have it on this list is to have the discussion in case you guys wanted to try. You guys were like, you know what? It would be cool to try something else.
As long as it's the same for everybody, it really doesn't matter.
No, that's
do what's fast and easy.
Do you guys want to do anything like re-roll it every round?
No.
Ooh.
Takes too long.
No. Okay. Yeah, I love the idea. In fact, there are tabletop games where you re-roll initiative every round, and it's fantastic. Okay. But again, you're slowing down the mechanic of the game. I agree.
I just wanted to give you guys the option. I will try this in my live games because I think at a live table it might be easier. And with a group of people who don't know what they're doing anyway, every time I have to explain initiative anyway, I might as well try it.
I think the initiative, keeping track of the initiative order is enough of a pain in the ass without...
Totally. Even with just 3 of us.
I think if the 3 of us were playing in person, I'd push for this way more.
In person's a lot easier to keep track of.
3 or 4 sessions. And if we were like, you know what, no, this is not working, then we'd get rid of it. But I'd force you to use it for a while, just to try it.
You're a dick.
Mostly just because we have the chance. Whatever. Those are the last of my mechanical questions. Or mechanical notes. I have 4 things that I need to ask you that's more about character creation and more about the game and backstory and all that. And they're questions for you to answer later. I'll tell you what they are.
Should I be taking notes?
No, well, yes, when I tell you what they are, but not right now.
Okay.
I want to.
You could email them to me.
I will probably also do that. And you watch C-Team, so you know what the questions are already. But yeah, they're 2 of them are the same. 2 of them are obviously not because you're not part of the acquisitions company. But anything else about the game and gaming and how we are going to handle things?
Only that I'm sorry for the healing I cannot give because I'm out of spell slots eventually. I'm a little bit nervous about playing the healer. It's a big responsibility taking care of your asses.
It is.
It's okay. How are you going to deal with multi-classing and level advancement? Are you going to require training of some sort?
No.
Okay.
I tend to not let you level advance during a session.
Sure.
And there will be times where I'm like, you know what, you guys have earned the next level, but it makes no sense for you to advance to the next level where we had to stop today.
And multi-classing after level 3, like in the book, or anytime?
I'm going to follow the exact rules in the book for multi-class.
after
What are
3.
the rules in the book?
You have to be level 3 before you can multi-class.
So you have to have your subclass.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
is that
basically,
true?
your
You really
fourth
can't go
level
after one?
upgrade. I'm pretty sure you have to be 3rd level before you can multi-class.
I may not require that.
Okay.
If you have a good reason. Like if your background
I
was
don't
you were
plan
a
on
soldier,
multi-classing,
fighter,
but
and then you were like, you know what?
I'm fully going to embrace my clericness.
I could be swayed one way or the other. The other requirement is you have to have a 13 in whatever stat is the main stat for that class. And I think a couple of classes have 2 stats, so that's important. And then you don't get everything. The hard part for me on multi-classing, the part I'm going to make you figure out, not me, is how spells work. Because God only fucking knows where the slots come from. I really
if you
don't.
multi-class like a sorcerer with a wizard, that gets all kinds of fucked up.
You don't get extra slots. You just have your slots because their character level depends. It's this whole thing.
That
I have
gets
no
complicated.
problem with you multi-classing. I just want there to be a good reason for it and all that.
Okay.
I want to take barbarian so I can rage. Is that good enough?
Yes.
I don't, but I was just curious.
So my thought was for the halfling to go 1 level in fighter because it fits his background, and then multi-class into thief
I think I'm fine with that.
at level 1. Like
Yeah,
jump.
I knew that. I think
Honestly,
I'm okay with that. I don't know what the
My
reasoning for it being level
advice:
3 is.
go to thief to 3 and then fighter.
It doesn't fit story.
Oh,
because of the shield.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all about the meta, so that's cool.
Yeah. I try very hard not to power game in D&D since 3rd edition because it was so easy.
Does fighter work for shield better than ranger?
It does in story.
Okay.
Plus,
Well,
fighter
I don't know
works
why I'm
better
asking
for everything
because I don't
and
really have a
everything.
say.
I
I don't even know your character yet.
Yeah, no, fighter works really good for
If you go to 2, you
story.
get a fighting style.
Fighter is a fantastic class.
So you actually start with a fighting style.
Oh, is it at level 1?
Yeah.
What is it level 2?
I think if
The
you're
self-heal?
fighting, yeah. I don't know. I actually think you get both. Hold on, let me find the book again.
1 is level 1 and 1 is level 2.
3 is when you get to choose your specialty.
In fighter, yeah.
And level 4 fighter, you just automatically win the game.
Surprisingly enough.
Action surge.
Is action surge level 2?
Yep.
That's worth waiting for.
Action surge is
don't
badass.
necessarily want you to have that, but action surge is pretty worth waiting for the extra level for.
Yes. You actually get second wind at first level.
For some reason, I was thinking that was the second level thing. I knew second level was important for something, but
no, second level is just action surge. Martial Archtype is 3rd.
And it's worth sticking around for the fucking martial type.
Dude, those Battlemaster dice are the pimp.
They're
I'm telling
disgusting.
you. I love those. And then you go with the feet to get the extra die.
There's no reason to go thief.
And get the
I don't
extra
know
die.
what you're trying to do, but there's no reason to go thief.
Swashbuckler. That's why I'm going thief.
I mean, unless you specifically want I was joking. I was joking, but
you can be a fighter with a sailor background.
There is an extent to where you could just go, because you can be a dex fighter, right, with finesse weapons and all that. You don't get sneak attack.
Oh hell yeah!
You don't get sneak attack, but you do get extra attacks. You get your fighting style. You get some other stuff. You get your if you go battle master, you get your battle master die.
You can take your fighting style as 2-weapon fighting.
Well, 1 you would take duelist because you.
Well, no.
Shield.
As a fighting style on first level, you get to choose 2-weapon fighting,
Not,
so you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack.
I know that.
Right off
You
the
know
bat.
that, and that's the most optimized thing for Swashbuckler. But he wants the shield, therefore, no.
Dueling. Plus 2 damage when I
Yes.
don't have an offhand weapon.
And the shield
that is,
allows you.
trust me, that dueling, it's really good.
And there's a shield master tree. My point being, you can be a dex fighter
Fighter rules.
and kind of have that swashbuckler like Errol Flynn styling, or you can do the actual thief and all that. So if you want the stuff that comes with the actual class, that's a different conversation than if you just want kind of that flair, right?
So here's the background of the character. He started as a LARP character, as I told you.
Yeah.
What he did is he was a sword and board fighter with thief skills. He was able to open locks and stuff like that because it didn't have like classes specifically.
Yes.
It was a skill buy system, so you could buy the ability to parry hits or whatever. And so he fought with a sword and board. He carried around thieves' tools. He had the ability. He had backstab, which is the LARP version of sneak attack.
Yeah.
So I mean, everything about a little bit of fighter, a little bit of thief is exactly this character.
Okay.
So
Those all make sense.
I mean
But what order would you take them in? Do you go
that's
thief
the
first?
thing.
Do you go fighter first? Ooh.
because 3
So
levels
you go
of fighter
fighter
will get you
first.
a lot. 1 level of fighter gets you some.
So I go.
Pretty much everything really doesn't start until 3, and really kicks off at 5.
Yeah, but you're not necessarily going to dip that far into it. But I don't know. Swashbuckler might stop giving you stuff at like 16.
It
Lex
does.
would know better than I do. Or Thief in general. I think most Thief stuff, the good stuff, is pre-16, or possibly 15, which means that you have a lot of levels there that you can dip out of.
Here's one thing. So if you take your sailor background, you get a belaying pin in equipment that acts as a club. Like right from the start. You just get that. And you're proficient with navigator's tools.
If you take the urchin background, you can be proficient in thieves' tools. You can have a mouse, a map of a city. I don't know if he is an urchin. I don't know if he was on the street after like his father died or something like that. I don't know what your background is. So
Yeah, you'll get it all. Don't worry.
Yeah. So those might be options as well, which would allow you to have like the thieves' tools, which would allow you to have. But if you really want, if you want the thief stuff like the backstab, sneak attack goes up as you level with a thief or a rogue.
Mm-hmm.
We should say rogue.
Here's the other thing. Depending on which class you want to advance the furthest, start in that. Because by the time you get to 2nd or 3rd level and you want to take your fighter or your rogue or whatever it is to get your shield, we're only going to be a couple of sessions in. 3rd level happens quick.
Yeah. So I'm going to do fighter 1, and I'm fine being not 3rd in any one thing.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't bother me in the slightest, but I want to
You could go full Drevis and do like 1 level of every different thing.
Yes.
Damn, Drevis Beastioner. Drevis Beastioner is played by Patrick Rothfuss,
He's incredible.
the fantasy author, who is a New York Times bestseller of the King Chronicle series, who plays Viari in the PAX games.
Have you read his shit?
He plays
Amazing books.
basically an emo. He's not a teenager. He's like 60 years old. He's like a half orc,
Right.
and his mother is the halfling character, and he's like a complete embarrassment to the family. And he has 2 levels of like one class, and then 1 level of every other class. So like they find him one time, and he's like, "Mom," he sounds like, "Mom, you just don't understand. I'm a paladin now." And she's like, "You're a what?"
He's a complete misanthrope who can't decide what he wants to be.
So fantastic. He's a different class every time.
When he showed up in full costume at PAX
Oh
South,
my
he was
God.
wearing a My Alchemical Romance shirt with like full bangs on a wig, and he was vaping. It was great.
Like he started vaping at the table and did not tell anyone he was going to, and
was
all of a
fantastic.
sudden they just all freaked out
Rosie looked at him and said, "I'm disappointed in real life."
in real life because they're friends. But anyway, no, don't do that. If you do not care about the optimization, and I salute you for that, that's fine. Obviously, it's fine. 1 level of fighter does get you a good amount of stuff, including the shield and all that. Again, the
Weapon
other option, if
proficiency.
everyone is okay with it, is we can make an allowance, right? Therefore, buying you a little bit of time if you'd rather go that route.
How does this allowance work, and do I get some?
Maybe. The allowance would be he gets proficiency with his father's buckler, and it's a +1 shield instead of a +2.
Can I get proficiency with his father's buckler?
It just sounds dirty.
Mm.
It sounds
think
super
that's the
inappropriate.
No, I would actually
But
rather
that doesn't fit with my character. Never mind.
I would rather not have the allowance and suffer through it.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that
Great.
if I did want to like jump into thief, I didn't have to go jump through a shitload of hoops.
No, I
If
won't.
you go
I won't
fighter off the
require
bat, you're going to get your shield. So
I
Yeah.
don't require the 3 levels thing. I understand the dip, especially because it is certainly not just to. I don't think it's not to abuse the system. You're not doing the 1 level of fighter and then going wizard so that you can be a wizard in full plate mail at level 2.
here's one thing to consider. When you go fighter, you have the option of heavy armors. Like chainmail is like what everybody takes.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
if
I
you take
took.
swashbuckler, you do not have that option.
Well, but if you go fighter first, you can take that, but it gives you disadvantage on all of your stealth.
Well, that and also you literally can't use 2 of your swashbuckler abilities in heavy
Yeah.
armor.
So leather armor or scale mail or something like that is
I
probably a
think you
better
have to
way to
be in
go.
light armor to use the swashbuckler stuff.
Okay,
Yep.
so you definitely don't want to go with. Okay, just pointing that out because that's
the gold
a
is coming off
temptation.
this. Okay, that's awesome.
Oh,
My hands are now sparkly.
yes. No,
These are
so
beautiful cards, but they stick
Did you
together.
touch the new My Little Ponies again?
No, I have my my golden tarot set, which are gold gilded on the edge, like fucking shiny gold on the edge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch Colville's Deck of Many Things episode. It's the same. I was so excited when I saw he had the same deck of cards that I do. I just like tarot cards. I don't believe in magic, I should say. One level of fighter, I'm okay with to get your shield and all that. I think that's fair. Lex, does that raise any flags for you? Do you have a problem with that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Lex is like,
He's like,
no.
why are you making me? Well, I'm just thinking, like, I want everyone to be like, because
We're all on the same team. Why would I have a problem
we're
with that?
theoretically breaking the rules. And I just
My
want to make sure
swashbuckler
everyone's
gets
happy.
a shield.
I don't expect anyone to have a problem with anything we do, but yeah, that should be fine. The real question is on the which one do you go with first, is actually what saving throws you get
Ooh,
I don't know.
And skill proficiencies.
and skill proficiencies.
I don't know.
You get way more skill proficiencies if you start as a thief.
Yes.
Or a rogue, rather.
Yes.
Sorry. You also get saving throw proficiency, meaning that you add your proficiency modifier, which is set by your level.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dungeon Master, but you could make some form of exception so that if he started as a thief, he could still use a shield.
Until he corrected it with fighter, yeah.
So okay, and this is my ignorance in 5th edition. How do the starting skills work? Like, so I'm looking here and I see,
So each class and background give you a certain number of proficiencies. So you're going to start with between 2 and 6 or 7, depending on the class and the background that you choose. The difference is that each skill, you'll notice, has a attribute listed with it.
Mhm.
So if you have to make that skill check, you use your attribute bonus, -1 to +2 or 3, whatever it is. If you're proficient in that skill, you add your proficiency bonus as well, which at this level is +2.
Okay.
So if you're proficient in acrobatics, you add your dex bonus plus your proficiency bonus.
Same as you would add to your attacks.
Right. So big deal especially at this low level, to get an extra 2.
And I don't remember
Right.
what the thief has dexterity saves and what? Wisdom?
Sleight of hand.
No, what are
typically.
his saves?
Oh, saves. Let me look.
Because that's the one that matters, in my opinion, more than the other. Not that you should change your character based on this, because it's mechanical and meta, but...
So how when you multi-class, and you take level 1 rogue, do you get your... You
Dex and int.
No.
You don't get the starting
You
skills
only
from
get
that.
the starting. You only get the level 1 abilities. You do not get the starting stuff.
Okay.
Dexterity and intelligence is the saves for the rogue.
Dexterity is nice, intelligence is meh.
Yeah.
But the fighter gets strength and constitution.
Both good.
Strength is awful for most things. There's very
Well,
few
strength keeps you from falling down and getting pushed around, but
by
constitution,
certain stuff. Constitution
I would
is
say
any poison.
it's a pretty big toss-up between con and dex. Although dex might
Dex
be a
is
little
more
bit bigger.
common.
Fall down, drop a thing, catch a thing.
Ideally, you'd want Dex and Con, but or Dex and Wisdom. But those are rare.
So and
Well, and
when
here's
you
the thing:
multi-class,
fighter
you don't
and fighter
get
and
the
thief
same.
are sort of like against each other that way, because fighter is very much primarily strength, and rogue is very much dex.
Yeah, I'm looking for the PHP because I want to find the exact page so I can tell you exactly how this works rather than from memory.
Looking for multiclassing?
Yes, please. Page.
Looking.
Bottom book. It was the bottom book. I thought the bottom book was the
163 and 164.
Thanks. All right. So you want to multi-class. Okay. To multi-class into rogue, you need dexterity of 13.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. You get the hit points of your new class as described. Whatever. So you'd be a fighter level 1, rogue level 1. Character
Fighter
level 2,
gets better
but
hit
not
points.
but not any other level 2. So you'd have a nice little boost of hit points at the beginning, because you do get the full hit points of the first level, so that's nice. Your proficiency bonus is always based on your character level, which is very great, because that would be shitty otherwise. It would fuck you over so hard. Okay, when you gain a level into rogue, you get light armor proficiency, one of the skills from the class skill list, and proficiency in thieves' tools.
Okay.
That is it. So no class do you ever get the saving throws. That I knew, but I thought you did get one skill, and that is correct. So one skill that from the rogues list that was not on the other list you could take now when you level up.
Dang, that's a tough call. Do I want the rogue skills or do I want the shield right away?
Story-wise, you want the shield.
Story-wise, yeah, but dang.
Well, so I can use I can hold the shield and just not be proficient with it, right?
It grants you, because it's considered armor, it fucks up all your dexterity checks and
Right.
Oh, that's
and
fine.
stuff.
Yeah, basically you have disadvantage on everything because you're carrying
attacks.
a shield. Yeah.
That's fine.
Not bad.
But you don't have you can carry it but not use it. So you can have it on your back, like attached to your backpack for the first level or two until you get proficient and then use it.
Yeah.
Or you
Or
start out. I mean, you said your guy is
just
already
be like fuck it, I'm gonna go fighter so I get my shield and then rogue it up and go from there.
And you said his background was actually fighter or soldier for a little while before he became he became a thieves guild guy and started learning the trade or whatever. So it makes sense, which is why I'm saying you should be able to do it at level 1. I don't care about the level 3. I actually didn't even see the level 3 thing in there. I'm sure it is. I just didn't look. But which, I mean, that shouldn't stop us from doing it, because fuck it. But the question is, do you want to look at optimization in any shape or form, or do you just want to go through what made sense with the background that you had planned?
Both are easily justified.
I agree.
So we can talk on that later, and we can move on. You and I can talk on it next week.
Yeah, no worries. Other questions?
Is Lex awake?
Yes, I'm here.
Woohoo!
Got him right at a yawn.
Do I have questions?
I do not see a requirement for being level 3.
I don't see one either. I was looking for it.
You know what? I might be thinking of an old edition. That might be an old rule that I'm completely wrong about.
I think the notion of staying to level 3 so that you get the first subclass is widely considered a thing, but I think you only have to, because so many people are like dip one fighter or whatever, they just do that as their first level.
Right? May not be a rule, actually. I'm probably misremembering. That's not uncommon.
There's no special allowance there, just how it is.
But other than that, we're using everything but from the book. Backgrounds,
Yeah.
ideals, bonds, flaws.
You can, if you have a character already drummed up, the ones that are in the book are mostly ideas. If you want to roll on those and play them randomly, that's fine. If you want to pick from the lists, that's fine. If you want to just write down your own, and those will kind of give you an idea of what to write where, that's fine too.
Okay.
But you have a pretty established character, so I'm pretty sure you can fill it out yourself. That's fine. Background mechanics, though, take from the book. The bonus skills and all that.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So are we at level 2 next week?
First session should get you to level 3.
Sweet.
Shit, yeah.
But we start at level
1
1.
is fucking terrible.
Dude, level 1 is
you absolutely
awful.
are starting at level 1.
I did not
suffer.
remember just how awful level 1 was.
Level 1 is the most dangerous level in the game.
I think the only other level 1 character I've ever played was Thorlin, and that was the Mines of Fandelver that I really didn't expect to survive.
It is so easy to die, because you have so little hit points that even if anything does 1 hit point to you, you're
11.
still, like,
That's
10% of your health.
After I get the bonus for my con that you were so, benevolent to provide,
To remind you.
I have 11 hit points. That's a 1 and a 1. That's a 10 plus 1. That's like one good kobold fight away from death.
It's, 3 stabs from a goblin or kobold will kill you.
Yeah, right? I'm pretty
Overkill
sure
you.
I have to stay way back and cast spells. Sorry, guys, I have to run away. Brave, brave Sir Robin.
So, okay. What else? If you guys are done with mechanical questions or how we're going to run the game, or like from Adam, hey Jason, what kind of DM are you? Those kind of questions. If we're done with those, and we don't have to be done with those. And of course, I'm always open to text or whatever else that you guys want to send me. But are there any questions about the world that want to get covered now?
I kind of like the idea of having to figure out my world.
There will be plenty to figure out. There are some things that you'll need to know generally, or like I might info dump at certain points. Like,
right? You said I would have been.
Oh, and here that this.
Right, I would have been on this side of the pond for a while, at least a short time to acclimate a little bit. Are there any temples to Valrie over here? Have anybody even heard of Valrie?
Yeah, she's a god everywhere.
Okay, so there's temples, people know her. I'm not just this weird chimera thing. Okay,
no,
cool.
They are gods of this land.
Excellent. Okay.
If I'm going Hexblade, we'll need to figure out how the patron works.
Yeah, we can
in
talk
your
about
world
that tomorrow too. Specific for. I presume I'll be talking to you tomorrow.
I think the way it works is you roll a d20, and if it's not a 1, you win.
Okay.
Don't.
And what if I roll a 1?
I'm pretty sure I read that in page 727.
I mean, it's Lex. There's a good chance he does not win. I mean.
Well, it's Lex. There's a damn good chance he rolls that 1.
Well, it depends on which die he uses. Lex, anytime his other character casts a spell, I make her roll another d20 for wild magic, and on a 1, Lex has to roll on the wild magic table. We roll on the wild magic table a lot.
It does happen an unusually frequent amount of time. Well, a lot. It's the math doesn't add up.
It does not add up even a little bit.
No, Einstein was wrong.
Way wrong.
Yeah.
E does not equal Lex's d20 roll.
My dice hate me.
In fairness, that is
Your dice are totally trying to kill you and the rest of the party.
mostly just turn you
Absolutely.
into a potted plant and a sheep
Not again.
and summon flumps. Anything
I'm
else?
still curious.
I still
My
have 4
angelic
questions that I need to ask, but anything
I
else?
have an angelic guide.
Yeah, I'll remember that if you just keep reminding me.
Well, I'm just curious about how this angelic guide is. What I could roll on the table. I thought you.
I mean, you are welcome to roll on the table if you want to. I
Well,
have
no,
not
that's
put
like
enough
for
time
the
into it.
demeanor and how it's supposed to act. I figured I'd leave that mostly up to you.
Which I might end up rolling on the table to get an idea. Like roll 3 things and be like, I think it'll be this.
That works too.
Now I have to play a warlock, so he has to play the diva and the patron.
Perfect. And he has to play the patron
Your
and
next
my
blade is
angelic
going to be
guide.
Benny the Sword from
Sword.
that I've used, or is my character, because I didn't actually want to play the game. I just wanted to pester people. So Benny the sentient sword.
Benny
who
Hill?
is based Benny the cab from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. One of my favorite
Okay.
characters of anything ever.
The first session should be titled "A Weekend at Benny's."
I might have
So
gotten this gold dust on my face. And
we
I
all
might be
carry him
allergic to
around
it.
because he's
That's not
dead, but
good.
we don't want anybody to know it.
If there are no other questions about how the game will work or anything about the world that you guys want to know, I will move on to
We're rolling dice, right? Sorry.
Then I have the 4 questions that you should answer for your character. These are...
Yes, no, B, and maybe.
It's actually close.
Yes.
What is your true reason for becoming an adventurer? And these will only go to me, not to the party. These are separate from whatever backstory that you choose to give me. Well, obviously, the more backstory you give, the better, but I'm not going to make it a requirement. So what is your true reason for being an adventurer, and not just sticking to, being a mercenary for the Thieves Guild, or not just sticking to being a farmer? Why did you decide, this is for me? Is it just about the loot? Is it about the fame? Or is there vengeance? What's going on? Question 2. Who is someone you have wronged? I will allow that it does not have to be someone you have actually wronged. They just have to think you have wronged them. Or maybe it's a fairly gray issue, but they think you have wronged them to the fullest extent of what that means. Although I will admit it is better if you actually probably did wrong them. There's a certain air of, moral whatever. But I will not require that.
I am going to so kill this backstory. You realize that? You're ready for volumes of nonsense, right?
I mean, I
Just
prefer
gibbering
volumes
of
of
a
solid
madman.
backstory.
You're going to have to skim through this, is basically my
Just make
warning.
it a searchable PDF and I'm good.
Question 3.
I really like that part of Chapter 3 where you said Chapter 3.
I'd like you to
And then I
review
liked how that
Chapter
flowed into
5,
Chapter
Jason,
4.
because this last session really just didn't fulfill me as a character.
Well, there's a pill for that.
There's a pill for that.
Okay. You know how there's magic wands in the game and there's also magic wands on the internet?
It's lasted more than 4 hours. I need to call a cleric.
We will be playing under the Affordable Cleric Act.
Which means I'm expensive.
Well, it also means that you can't be denied coverage for pre-existing curses. And you get to keep your deity.
Yes.
These are not original. These are from Table Titans or PvP or whatever. Those are stolen jokes.
Loving it.
The next question. What would you kill to discover? I just hear the typing, so I like to think that you guys are actually like desperately answering this like an exam.
I'm actually writing it with
I know
a
you're just
pencil on
copying the
paper.
question, but like,
I'm not even typing. This is pencil on paper.
Oh, no, I hear
Listen,
the typing from
can
Adam.
you hear me licking the lead?
I mean, question number 4 is why are you in the prison that you are going to be starting in?
Spoilers.
What, Lex?
Spoilers.
Unless you guys have a real problem against this.
Is there going to be a drow or a dark elf, whatever, in the cellar opposite of us?
And are they going to
What is that
die?
a reference to?
Oblivion.
Oh,
Elder
no.
Scrolls.
I don't know jack shit about Elder Scrolls. I've never enjoyed one of the games.
We're
I
not starting in a
Skyrim for
tavern, so...
No, you are not starting in a tavern, very much on purpose. However, your reason for being in prison can be because you got rowdy in a tavern. You do not have to be guilty of a crime. You do not have to be... it can be literally whatever you want it to be. I mean, please make it reasonable. But, like, were you accused of murder? Did you get rowdy in a bar and they arrested a bunch of people, including you? Jaywalking? I don't know. Whatever.
Jaywalking.
Don't do jaywalking. Drunk in public. Why are you in jail for what they consider a real reason, but may not be a real reason for you? Not that I'm not saying that they're corrupt or anything like that. It's just they had to arrest you for a reason, even if you were just accused of something.
I think this might be the best question I've ever been asked. Like,
Why are you
for
in jail?
anything ever... Like, no question has ever come close to this one as far as, like, sparking creativity. And my will to answer.
I'm just saying, you might get responses to all of these questions in character.
Well, that's
I'm
the
fine
point,
with
right?
that too. That might actually earn you a thing.
A thing, even. Oh, sweet. Now I got one, too.
Oh,
I love things.
always wanted my own thing.
Back off, that's my thing.
Well, we're not playing with. I don't want to play with inspiration. So,
Hey, while
the
we're all
equivalent of
stuck in this
inspiration.
prison, do you have a few minutes to talk about our Lord Valrier?
I like that. That's pretty great. You will be in prison with maybe some other characters.
Oh, hopefully at least the three of us.
It'll be the 3 of you and I think 2 others
We're not in the same prison.
in a fairly provincial. You just across the globe. I'm running 3 games.
Good luck getting together, boys.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got. Unless
So
you want to hear
it-
about my calendar and other things. But
No, I have a lot of thinking to do about these questions.
Yeah, no, that's a real problem. I have one mechanical question that's
wait,
more of a
the questions are a real problem or the calendar? Because the calendar works, buddy.
no.
I've tested it.
The thought of how much thought's going to have to go into these questions. Particularly who is someone who I've wronged. That one's going to be hard for me.
Like I said, I would accept that you have not wronged someone.
Or
But
that the list is too long to mention.
oh,
Who have I
unintentional.
not wronged?
whoops. In that case, I would accept something like, and I don't, like I said, I don't know anything about the backstory, but it could be Thieves Guild,
Hashtag Thieves Guild.
Assassins
Sorry,
Guild,
not sorry.
Lords of Death. Yeah, no, whatever, that's fine.
Sorry,
Oh.
Lords of Waterdeep.
It doesn't have to be a
All
person.
of you.
I think a person is potentially more interesting, so that way it's more personal as opposed to I skipped out on a whatever with this group of people, so they're not I'm not their favorite person. Versus
If I were to have burned down a temple when I was like 7,
versus I would say
would that
maybe
be like a whole group of people were mad at me then?
depends. Was it arson or accidental?
Yes.
Maybe.
Can I just attach the phone book?
It depends on whether you're me or them as to the answer to that question, because it's all about perspective.
So I think the question really comes down to yes, you could have wronged the Thieves Guild by like, and I'm just using that because you said it, but like you didn't, you stole something from them or you turned it in, so now the Thieves Guild is pissed at you and wants to enact their own justice, whatever. But maybe it's more interesting potentially if it's like you traveled with this guy for a while, his name is Carl, or whatever, and he blames you for his sister's death. He thinks you killed her, and she died, but not because of you, not really. Um, that's
Well,
kind of the level
technically,
of
I
like
was
wrong
driving the
someone
cart,
I'm
but
kind of leaning towards. But it doesn't have to be that. So
I like it. And then I have one question about, so we're in combat. Are you okay with us asking one another, should I attack? Should we run? Like having discussions like that, or do you want combat to be, all right, we're in combat, let's do the fight, do whatever you think is best, and in the heat of combat, those 6 seconds, you can't ask your questions.
well, let me put it this way. The answer is no. I will never be that rigid. I can't track that.
my experience in playing with Jason as a DM is a little bit of table talk is no big deal. But if we
I don't
get a
want it to
little
go
out of
crazy.
hand, he'll let us know. He'll be like, "Hey guys, you don't know that, just play."
Okay.
And
But
I think it's
a
pretty
little bit of
generous.
table talk, I think, is expected. Oh, you're very generous in
The
that department, I
other
think.
thing about it is, thank you. The other thing about it is, talking is a free action. You don't even have to wait for your turn to do it. So,
So if you don't mind the orc knowing what your plan is,
so you could yell out, "Grim, we have to run," and it's Grim's turn. Grim can either choose to agree with you and run, or say like, "You guys start, I'll hold him off," or "No, we're staying in."
with an
That's
int of
fine.
-1, I see Grim making a response of the "huh" variety.
I don't know. -1 does not make you stupid.
I told you I wasn't going to play him stupid. I
Crazy
was just
bastard. I know.
What'd you say? What do you mean run?
Who is run? Cool
I'm
runnings. Oh, sorry.
I'm running now.
A Vietnam flashback. I apologize.
I'm running now.
I'm pretty lenient on meta. There are certain things where I'm like, come on. But
Hey, you
and there will be times
guys.
where I'll be like, you guys have been discussing this for a little while, and I may push you on a little bit, but I've already also advanced time to where now something else is happening. So
While you discussed it, the orc makes another axe attack.
or he steps a little closer, or now the friends are a little bit closer than maybe they were gonna be. But I'm usually not too bad about that.
Cool.
You're
It's
all
a game
dead.
for fun. It's not a performance.
I've played
Or
in
me versus
games
you.
where combat and table talk is strictly like, besides like, oh, good job, or playful banter.
Yeah.
And it's actually really, really fun because now you kind of have to learn who your friends are actually playing
Yeah.
and
You don't get a
understand
chance
what
to
they
plan
might
while you're doing
actually
it.
do.
Yeah.
I encourage you to try it, to go for it, but I'm not going to penalize a slip up, obviously.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I encourage as much role play as you're comfortable doing.
Sweet.
I think the more the better. I think the more dynamic anything can be, the better. The more you can lose yourself in what's happening, the better. As long as you can pull yourself back out and be like, oh, you know what? We're all just here to have fun. I'm not mad at Bobby. My character is mad at his character. That's all I care about.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Right. As players, we should be respectful and courteous, but our characters can be dicks.
To an extent. I mean, there's a point where it gets out of control, and it's just like, okay, this has to stop. All right. It. I don't know I don't know how long I've been muted. I looked up and I had accidentally muted myself.
It was like only a second. I was just about to say, dude, I think you muted yourself.
I hit spacebar, and I think it just hit the last command.
I thought the cat turned it off.
No, she's down below me. She's usually not up here during the game. You'll hear her when she reaches up and puts her paws on my shoulder because she's a lone cat, and she'll like cry right in my face. But no, she's downstairs or down below me.
Below you.
If anyone, she's on her toast pillow, which is not big enough for her, which is very funny.
Powdered Toast, man.
It's basically a pillow, like a little cushion that looks like toast. I have no idea. My mother bought it for her. I don't know why.
Cats love toast
If
or
no
something.
one has anything else, that's it for me. That's all. That's all I got. That's all. Oh wait, what is this?
Oh, oh, oh.
I think those are notes for me. Those are notes for me. Sorry.
I think I'm good.
Note card on my desk.
I'm good. I'm gonna spend some time with the book and get my character all rolled up.
Sounds good.
Do you want a copy of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably just the once.
Okay.
I'll delete it as soon as I look over it. It's more of just a, hey, let me make sure everything went correctly.
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna probably do that Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
So
Yeehaw.
you can expect several emails from me, or one email with several attachments. I haven't decided yet.
Personally, I'm very excited to be playing the healer. I have never played the healer before. I am stoked that all of your lives are in my hands.
The scene cuts away to like the it's just burned out husks of building and trees on fire. It looks like the end of like a. It looks like the day after Judgment Day, or like the day after tomorrow was yesterday.
That's the sequel. That's the name of the next movie, I think. The day after tomorrow was yesterday.
So. Oh, I had one more point.
Put it in wisdom.
We have we have a D&D session Friday for Lex and Bobby.
Si bueno.
Friday night at 7:30, or normal time, as the case would be. And then Saturday, Lex, we have a game at 8 in the morning.
Ew.
Which is gonna suck.
Is Lex just going to be gaming for like 36 hours straight?
Basically.
You are a madman, Lex. You're like the fucking tabletop Iron Man.
We've done this a couple times. It gives me like 6 hours of sleep. I have no idea what it does to him.
That's insane.
I imagine he's dead right now, but
I imagine he's hooked up to machines somewhere. He's not even a human. He's like a machine hybrid.
It certainly shaves up a couple of years of my life, you know.
We have the technology. We can make him faster, stronger, better.
yeah, I mean, considering how fucking tired I am right now, I imagine I'll be beat as shit. It might
Dude,
be
it's almost 10 o'clock.
Short
You know the
session.
last time I stayed up until 10 o'clock was probably the last time we played D&D.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Okay,
mentioned
this
how
will
old I
only
am.
this session 0 will only take like 2 hours.
I warned you that it was going to take like 4 because I was going to open it up to other questions.
Lex is like, God damn.
I warned you on purpose.
The sun's coming up, motherfuckers.
I clearly could have done this. It doesn't
I could have emailed this shit to you. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't, because it sounds like you guys all have your characters pretty well picked out. I don't think there's anything we need to get over there. I also need to talk about races or anything that would be allowed. None of you are playing races that are weird.
I'm weird.
Bobby wants to be from the Eastern Continent. I would prefer no one else was, just to keep it to the Westerlands.
I still wouldn't mind playing in 1T though. LT, whatever.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, what?
No.
Yuan-Ti. Pure Blood.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
It's the resistance to magic that mechanically worries me.
And
I presume is the entire reason you want to play her. But,
I'm not sure if it's balanced or not. Is it just resistance to magic or?
It's advantage on saving throws.
Oh, advantages. Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not half damage, no. Unless you're an Ancient's Paladin. God damn it, Drew. Everything. That wizard's gonna have to get a lot more powerful to kill you next time. Two chain lightnings. What, Lex?
We're okay. We're cool. Don't worry about it.
Like I said, I mean, if we really want to discuss being the one Yuan-Ti, I will. But I'm not convinced it's balanced. The Kobold isn't balanced. It's weak compared to other starting classes. I don't know if the Yuan-Ti is actually stronger than others, but I hesitate against the monstrous races. But
You're so racist.
yeah. And this isn't just because I want you to play an orc. Don't worry about that. It's not important right now.
You just wanted to play an ugly girl for once.
Well, the orc can still be pretty. He's done it before. He's played an orc before in other games.
Probably a really hot orc.
Yeah, obviously. A hork.
Do you, that was funny.
Yeah, he played an Olf. Wait.
Do you have a link to the map?
I was just say to a hork? No. Yeah. Let me,
That's a porn industry
I
you
guess let me
don't
just
want to be
send
linked
you
to.
the actual map, so you can have it as a file.
Ooh,
Oh,
file.
this is important. I'm pretty tired of players not taking notes. No offense to you guys from the other game. This is mostly because of you guys, but and I noticed this in my other group as well. And something Colville said, and I was like, yeah, I might do that. It doesn't have to be everyone every time, but I would like everyone to take notes so they kind of remember it. We're gonna play more often than we do the other game, but still.
I take notes, but my notes suck.
I was
My notes end up being something like, that's why a month from now I'm looking at it going, what the
and
fuck?
that's
Why
the
is
problem.
blue?
And I realized that as stuff's happening, you don't want to just be writing down everything because then you miss what's going on. So what I was thinking is I would implement a sort of good boy points reward system of sorts, where if you do your chores, you get a little gold star.
What you're saying is we need a documancer?
I would love a documancer. What I'm thinking is because I also think this has story potential, and I'll get into why, or you can just, if you've watched the Matt Colville episode, it doesn't matter. I know I'm referencing him a lot. I don't mean to. It's just what I've been listening to at work while I've been working and all that. I would like some form of write-up. I don't want to give you guys homework, so I feel bad about this. But what I want...
Well, if there's a recording...
Yeah, that I'm not necessarily going to share with you guys immediately.
Damn it.
Or listen to.
I thought that was my out.
So my thinking was this. Not only do I get to... If I read you... And I'm not talking a lot here. Like a paragraph, maybe. It can be in character, it can be out of character, whatever you want to do. The reason why I think this is helpful is it lets me see how you heard what I said. If that makes sense.
I'm sorry, what?
When I read what you wrote...
No, I heard
you.
you.
Because I'll say something and I'll think you guys get it, and you didn't. And now we're on two separate tracks. Which is fine. I just want to know what your track was so I can keep up. And you know what? This may not be the way we want to do it. This may not work. Maybe just one person takes notes and we're good. I just want the party to know where we are and what we're doing and who important people are. I don't want to reference some random person and have no one know who or why. You know what I mean? I know it's harder in the other game because of a month between, but I think in this one it's more doable. And like I said, I don't want to give you guys homework, but something would be good. And I don't really know what form that takes, so I don't want to dictate. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to be a dick about it, but it'd be nice maybe to have, and maybe it shifts every time. We just go in a circle.
Or maybe whoever takes the best notes gets to level up.
Maybe.
Ooh.
I was thinking I'd probably reward with the equivalent of inspiration.
My notes say cat noise. My cat's name is Mittens.
Her name is Maggie. Obviously, come on. That gets said a lot. Oh, now she's looking at me all weird because I said her name. So yeah, I don't know if I want write-ups from you guys. I've seen a couple of things where it might be an interesting thing, but I'm not going to make you guys do it if you don't want to. If you're like, no, this isn't really what the experience
Voluntary extra credit?
Yeah. Like porn.
I'm going to send you all 4 notes that I take every week.
Please don't do that.
Cat good. Crit fail bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I know you guys are engaged while we're playing. I just want to make sure that everyone has something they can reference and go back to, without us just having the recordings readily available. The other one is
You're gonna take technology away from me just when I get used to it.
if you want to do it as more of a write-up, like we investigated a thing, this is how, like, ooh, and we hear a rumor. Perhaps this is finally my chance to learn what happened to Sonya.
Sonya,
you don't
that
have
bitch.
to do that, but like if you do, I'll probably reward you for it. Is all I'm saying. That way, also, I mean, I think it gets you guys more involved in the story, maybe. Like, if I see, oh, this is how you understood it. I did not realize. I like
Oops.
this. Let's play to that, or let me
That's not
pretend
wrong.
that that's true
That's
and play
exactly
into it a
what I
little bit,
meant.
and then it's actually this. You'll be like, oh my god, what?
Okay, so now I'm scared to take notes.
You should always be. I'm smiling. You should be scared.
That's fair.
When we play, I might wear my choose your weapon T-shirt, which is just the dice.
Nice.